Hello and welcome to episode 96 of Bearded Banter, the gaming podcast where we did it, boys. We survived another year. Let's go. We're 1 year closer to the inevitable heat death of the universe. So let's savor it while we can. I am your host, Shane the Beer One. Nice to see you all in this lovely new year of 2024. With me, as always, my lovely co-host, Ryan, the NCS Master. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. You know, hanging in there. Been kind of a rough start to the year, admittedly, for me for a few different reasons, but things are starting to look up a little bit with YouTube suddenly deciding to pop off for no reason.
Yeah, crazy, right? It's insane, right? Yeah, who could have seen that coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I am just the victim of luck. I take no blame.
I really do think the algorithm was just being nice.
Yeah.
But hey, kudos and congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. You know what? Even for a thrown together video, it was a great video with a lot of valid points. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
And as you can see, we are down a regular host. Our other co-host, Matt Legion Rex, decided to sit this one out, seeing as how this is a Game of the Year show. He decided he did not play enough games last year to contribute anything meaningful. So he is not here. He will be back on our regularly scheduled programming next time, but we will miss him.
It turns out Matt was just the fusion dance of these two, and he defused.
These guys are what Matt usually is.
Which one of us gets to be? Do you want to be Trunks or Gohan?
Oh, dude, I'm Gohan, man.
No, fuck you. I'm Gohan. That was a trick question.
Well, trick question, both of you. It's Goten. You fucked up.
Then it's Trunks.
I'm fully aware. Listen. Okay. Look me in the eyes and tell me that you don't know that I know next to nothing about Dragon Ball.
I know. I'm aware. But speaking of these two, as you can see, we have two very special guests who you might recognize from my other show, the Gap podcast. We got Josh and Spencer. Welcome, boys.
Hi.
Hello.
Crazy. Great
96
job,
backwards
guys.
is
What do you want me to
backwards is 69. 69.
It was, you know what? I should have never said anything. I should have never.
And so you know what? You know what? I started blasting.
He did just start blasting. Yeah.
I just started blasting. You know what? I started blasting. For his neutral special, Joker wields a gun.
Okay.
Joker wields a gun and then drops his fucking magazine on the ground.
Jesus Christ.
Even the Discord to completely crash. Hold on. There we go.
There we go. There, the boy's back.
Apologies about that. This app is shit.
Discord sucks.
Discord got scared of my pure testosterone from
Discord
using my
got
neutral
scared
special.
of the gun.
We literally all just froze, and then it was just like, boink. Sorry about that.
Incredible. It's okay. Josh pulled out a gun on me. It's fine.
Oh, he did. He
He
pointed
just
a gun
pulled out
at the live studio. Yeah,
Jeez, my God.
it's actually on my screen. It's aimed at me, aka the live studio audience.
Yeah. So anyway, we got these two chuckle fucks.
You have.
We got these two chuckle fucks. The first time in a while they've been on Bearded Banter. Bye, Josh. So as you know, it's going to be chaos today, and what a better episode to incite the chaos than the first episode of the new year. And as such, we're going to be looking back on last year. So today we are going to be holding our Game of the Year show, where we talk about our favorite games of 2023. Got a full house for this, so it's going to be a real hoot and a holler. Before we get into that, though, I just want to briefly bring this up because it's kind of hard not to. No sponsors today. Fuck the sponsors.
Mountain Dew is our sponsor.
Okay, Mountain Dew's our sponsor, apparently. Get Game Pass by drinking Mountain Dew. Use the
Sponsored
code
by Wrigley's Extra.
Use the code Wrigley's Extra to get 50 cents off your next pack of gum.
Dude,
anyway,
that's a lot of money.
Wrigley's?
Wrigley's.
Hey,
Wrigley's.
Fuck you.
It's a gum.
You. Hey, piece of shit. You.
Yeah,
Hey.
I know. I said Wrigley's. Wrigley's.
I'm
It's
saying.
plural.
Hey, you, Spencer.
Exactly.
Go fuck
Yeah, what's
yourself.
up?
Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
We're starting off hot, folks.
We're starting off hot. Just wait until we get to the actual video games. Crazy. But before we get started, I just want to mention, because it's hard not to, while last year was a great year for the games we played, it was anything but for the people who made them. I feel like we can't talk about last year without bringing up the massive layoffs that were experienced in the gaming industry. Some, like 11,000 people were laid off last year?
Something like that, because it's unfortunately the case where I think people have said we're nearly or at half that number by this year, and we're not even in February yet. Oh boy.
Yeah, something 11,000 jobs were laid off last year. And it seems that we're just going to keep going with that trajectory because, like Ryan said, we're at half of the total layoffs from last year as a whole, and it's only January. So it's dark times for the gaming industry. And while there's a lot of great games coming out that we as the players are really looking forward to and really enjoying, the people making them are getting thrown under the bus in more ways than one. A lot of people losing their jobs, losing their income, in some cases losing their homes. I think I've seen a few devs on Twitter come out and say that this has basically like made them homeless. So yeah, I want to dedicate this podcast to all of the people that were affected by the layoffs last year, because it doesn't feel right talking about the games they made without acknowledging all of their hard work and sacrifice and the shit treatment they got from the higher ups. So this one's for all of you. Hopefully we can slow down on the layoffs this year, but it's looking like that's not going to be the case.
I was going to say, like, hopefully, the most recent one was Riot, about 500 people laid off.
I think it was Microsoft.
Microsoft was the newest one.
2,000 people at Activision Blizzard.
1,900. Yeah.
Including, the lead narrative designer for Overwatch 2, what else was it? There was a ton.
I think Toys for Bob people were laid off.
Toys for Bob people were laid off. Like basically the less quote unquote lesser end Microsoft acquisitions. Because Toys for Bob really wasn't making a lot.
Bless you.
I mean, they were relegated to Call of Duty last time I heard.
I would say Call of Duty. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a bunch of the Call of Duty people that they laid off. 2,000.
It's almost like game costs are ballooning too much and it's being unsupportable by the industry and most of its devs, which is seriously causing a problem for game releases. To learn more, go watch A Generation of Nothing.
On the YouTube channel, the NCS Master, now available. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there because it didn't feel right talking about all the games we loved last year without bringing up that a lot of people suffered to get these games to us. So this episode is dedicated to all those who were affected by the layoffs, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this year gets a little better with that. Hopefully. Please. Now that the depressing shit's out of the way, let's talk about. There you go. Now that the depressing shit's out of the way, let's talk about video games. This is the Bearded Banter Game of the Year Awards. If you haven't seen one of these before, this is a top 10 ordeal where each of us have our own individual list of our 10 favorite games that released last year. In terms of rules for the list, I was very lenient. Basically, the only rule I put set in stone was that every entry has to have been released in the calendar year of 2023. Between January 1st and December 31st. It could have released 11:59 p.m. on the 31st of December. I don't care. As long as it's within that window, it counts. And it's everything. AAA, indie, early access, 1.0 releases, anything goes. In terms of the individual lists and what games you all classify as counting for this, I left that all up to you. For me, I'm not counting remasters or ports, so a lot of games like Ishin, Return to Dreamland Deluxe, the Mega Man Battle Network collection, I didn't include on my list because
Metroid Prime.
They're just Metroid Prime. I would consider that more on the remake side, but I didn't count it anyway. So I personally didn't count games like that, but you guys, it's all up to you.
Yeah, same here.
So, before we get into the main lists, I want to take the time to talk about any honorable mentions anyone has. As we know, 2023 had a lot of fucking games. So, there's bound to be a few games that didn't make the cuts. So, who wants to talk about honorable mentions?
I can go first just because I've got like 12 here, so I can wrap it up.
Okay, lightning round, brother.
Yeah. So I have got Street Fighter 6, Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario RPG Remake, Pizza Tower, Final Fantasy 16, Fire Emblem Engage, Star Ocean Second Story R, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Gal Guardians, and 2 fan games I wanted to give a shout out, Undertale Yellow and Sonic Forces Overclocked.
Okay, interesting. You know what? I'm real surprised 16 didn't make it onto your list.
That is a game that I enjoyed, but honestly, it gets worse every time I think about it.
That's real unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right. Spencer, what do you got in terms of honorable mentions?
Going from 5 to 1, this is in no order. This is just in how it was written down in my games I played. Number 5, Have a Nice Death. Very fun kind of
roguelike,
Metroidvania roguelike game. Pizza Tower, which is the most unique form of the equivalent of the end of every single Metroid game ever made. Where you're just running through the level as fast as you can because good old Peppino is about to be murdered. Which
he really is about to get got.
He did commit multiple Geneva Convention violations, so he's known. Persona 5 Tactica is a very fun, if not light.
I forgot that one on my honorable mention.
So P5T is very fun, if not quasi-repetitive tactical RPG. It's more of a, as explained, it's more of a Mario and Rabbids style RPG than an XCOM RPG.
Okay.
But there's enough depth and the game is short enough that it never really outstays its welcome, and it's very easy to just do all the content, all the quests and stuff like that. Super fun. Probably wouldn't make a top 10 list, but I still want to point that out because it ties people over until Reload comes out in a couple weeks. Number 2 is Infinite Guitars. Infinite Guitars is
yeah.
Yes, it is a rhythm RPG that was on Game Pass. I believe it was Humble Games.
It was Humble
published.
Games, yeah.
Once again, short game, maybe takes you 10 to 12 hours, dependent. But has a killer soundtrack that I'm still trying to find to this day.
Dude, they just put it out on Spotify.
When?
Like last week.
Okay. And with enough combat and a relatively easy to follow story. And number 1 on my honorable mentions is Honkai Star Rail.
Get wrecked, Josh! Fuck you!
So Honkai is a gacha game through and through. But it's a gacha game that has so much genuinely heartwarming and emotionally diverse storytelling, coupled with a gameplay system that is that may appear simplistic, but is actually very layered. I also say this as a person who doesn't play gacha games. I mean, the last one I played was Bang Dream, which is usually the ones I play is a lot of Love Live, a lot of Bang Dream. Yes, I know, Shane. I have, of like the almost 50 characters, I have like 24 of them, and I've put $0 into this game.
That's impressive, actually.
They give you enough money and tickets to never have to spend money if you don't want to. The world itself is gorgeous. The side quests are varied and unique. And with 2.0 coming out, I am very excited for the new world that we're about to get. But wouldn't make a top 10 in any other year. But I still want to give it the respect it deserves for being what I had hoped Genshin was going to be.
Fair enough. Josh? Honorable mentions.
I have 2. Yeah, so I have 2. The only reason really these are my honorable mentions is I did not have enough time to play them to fully give them a fair review.
That's a lot of my honorable mentions.
It's Street Fighter 6 and Super Mario Wonder. Street Fighter 6 was definitely probably the funnest fighting game I played last year. I think the biggest thing I like is how welcoming it is to new players for the series with the... I'm trying to remember what it's called, but the more casual...
Modern controls? Yeah.
Modern controls. With the modern controls, which lets people who aren't used to fighting games be able to fight, at least on like... I'm not going to say equal grounds, but have a fighting chance against people who are professionals and people who actually know what they're doing with the game. The characters are fun and varied. The game ran incredibly. From what I've seen, it had an incredible story mode. just all around great game. And then Super Mario Wonder was just the best platformer game I played last year, hands down. Fun, joyous. I had a fun time playing with friends. It has a gacha system built in.
Yeah, it's got a fucking
Blue
gacha.
Blue
with
Yoshi
standees.
on a cloud.
Blue Yoshi on a cloud, baby.
It was a very, very well made game. And I think the biggest thing for me is this is something that's been needed for a while, because the last real platform Mario RPG we had that changed, like really changed things, I personally feel is New Super Mario Bros. For the DS.
Yep, I agree. I
really
would say
feel
more
that
so
was the-
Wii. I would say Wii was the one.
I feel like that was the last time they really changed something, so this feels so refreshing to play.
100% agree. In terms of mine, because I'm an insane person and I rank things as I go throughout the year, I have a whole list right here of every game I played, ranked from bottom to top. So my honorable mentions is basically just my 11 through 15 on my overall list. So I'm gonna give these real quick. Number 15, Blasphemous 2, a much anticipated sequel. I was really looking forward to it because I really enjoyed the first game, and it's basically an improvement in every single way. Movement and combat are much improved. The pixel art is just as grotesque and gory as it's ever been. It looks incredible. Music's fantastic once again. I just didn't get to play enough of it to make it higher on the list. So, number 14, Armored Core 6. Same deal, I just didn't get to play enough of it, but what I played, man, I'm not an Armored Core person, but this game I think will make me an Armored Core person. Because goddamn, this game is just so fucking fun to play. Just flying around with a big mech, big sword, big gun, go pew 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 pew. It's just the best mech game on the market right now, I think. I don't really think you can top this in terms of like mech games. Number 13, Street Fighter 6, which seems to be on everyone's honorable mentions. This is definitely the kick in the ass that Street Fighter needed after 5 launched in the way it did. What a rejuvenation of the series. It just breathes so much new life into the series, and it's just a joy to play. Like, I think this really goes to show that the RE engine can literally do anything, because it can make a fighting game this fucking good. And the graphics look insane. All of the characters are varied and fun to play. From what I've seen, World Tour is a really cool story mode, but I haven't had a chance to really dive into it. It just sucks that Capcom doesn't know how to do microtransactions. It really fucking blows. Because I feel like that killed a lot of the goodwill this game had. But for what it's worth, probably the best fighting game that came out last year. Number 12, this will probably be surprising hearing from me, Sonic Dream Team.
Huh.
Man, I really like this game. It just sucks that it was
that one.
It just sucks that it was
I didn't even
die.
know.
I completely forgot about that.
Okay,
when did that come out?
That came out in early December. And it was exclusive to Apple Arcade. That's probably why you didn't hear about it.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. It really is what a lot of the modern 3D games should be. Kudos to Sega Hardlight for making a mobile game better than some of the actual 3D platformers made by Sonic Team. It just sucks that it was sent to die on a service that nobody has.
I would give anything for that to be ported to like the Switch and Steam for like $20
or PC or hell even to Android, because I have a fucking Galaxy. Like, just let me play it on this damn thing. And don't it's one thing to make it iOS exclusive. Okay, fine. It's another that it's Apple Arcade, so you need the subscription and need to even play it.
So you can't even own it. Yeah.
It's just sucks. It just sucks all around. And then my final one, and this is gonna hurt Ryan, and I'm sorry I've betrayed you, my friend, but it's Sea of Stars.
Oh,
I just did not have the time to go back to it, and I feel like if I did, it would have been on the top 10, but my god, what I played was incredible.
That's fair, man. We all only got so much time. And honestly, I thought it was going to be worse when you were pointing me out. I thought you were going to say something like Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh no, I didn't even play that, so it's fine.
What?
Nope.
Neither did I. Don't worry about it.
Thanks, man.
Neither did I.
Yeah, it's not on any of our list, dude.
I'm surrounded by crazy people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Kingdom.
Breath of the Kingdom.
Breath of the I mean, listen, as much as I love it, it might as well be called Breath of the Kingdom, let's be honest.
Yeah, it is Breath of the Wild
Breath of the
too.
Wild. Yeah, exactly.
Very much
and that's
is
not
Breath
a
of
bad
the Wild
thing,
too.
but it's just what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sea of Stars was my last honorable mention. I just didn't get back to it, and I'm really sad about that because Sabotage made a fucking real good game here. The pixel art is phenomenal, music's incredible, and it's just a classic, good old RPG. If you like that kind of game, you will dig the hell out of this. If you played The Messenger and you liked that, you will dig the hell out of this. It won Best Indie Game for a reason.
Yeah.
For a reason.
I know. I still need to check it out.
It's literally on everything. It's on all platforms and PC. It's on Game Pass. It's on PS Plus. Just fucking play it.
Yeah.
I've had enough people mention the Chrono Cross references that I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a good RPG.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, every game that come out that interested me is like 12,000 hours. So, like, I didn't even start Baldur's Gate 3 because that is a commitment I can't deal with right now.
Nope.
Yeah. I've played a bit of that. But yeah.
Okay. And that is the end of honorable mentions. So let's move now into the main list. And I just want to put this out there right now. We're going to go, obviously, from 10 to 1, 1 being our games of the year. We're going to go one by one through each numbered entry. So Josh is going to say his number 10, then Spencer, then Ryan, then me, and then repeat on to 9, on to 8 until we get through the whole list.
Okay.
For the sake of brevity, and so that we're not here all night, try to keep each entry to like a couple minutes max, like 2 or 3 minutes, just so we're not here for the rest of the night. I gotta work tomorrow.
Yeah, I might not even go that. I might just keep it real quick summaries.
Honestly, like as brief as you can, but if you got stuff to say, just go ahead. So let's start. Josh, what is your number 10 on your top 10 games of 2023?
I don't know.
Josh,
I'm kidding.
Josh, everyone.
So,
Mazel tov.
My number 1 is a game that was
number 1.
Number 1.
My number 10. My number 10.
Thank you.
Was a game that was pretty highly anticipated. A lot of people were excited for it, and you know what? When it first came out, it definitely did really good. But once people started playing it more, they're like, it's Starfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Starfield was a fun game while I played it. But the more I looked back on it, the more I was like, yeah, this is a Bethesda game. Yep,
it's got a Bethesda game, yep.
I'm like, yep, it's got Bethesda flaws. It's still a fun game, don't get me wrong. It's got the Bethesda ick to it. Good game, just would I play it again? Probably not. Am I glad I got it on Game Pass? Yes. I'm very glad I got it on Game Pass and did not spend money on it.
I'm sure a lot of people are glad they got it on Game Pass, but okay.
Maybe once they start adding more mods, I don't know. But for now,
Okay. Interesting. Okay, Josh's number 10 is Starfield. I was not expecting that. All right. Spencer, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is a long-awaited sequel to a game that previously only I had played, and to this day, only I have played. From Gunfire Games, directed by David Adams, it is Remnant 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
So Remnant 2 would actually probably be higher on the list if it didn't consistently crash my computer, which is not the game's fault. It's the RAM's fault. So I can't blame the game for that. Once I get new RAM, hopefully we can play that stuff for hours. But so I played Remnant from the Ashes when it came out in 2012, 2018, I think it was 2019.
Yeah,
somewhere around that time period. Real fun kind of roguelike. You have the story in From the Ashes was fantastic. Gunplay less so much. Not a lot of difference between the classes. When I heard that Remnant 2 was coming out, I needed to check and make sure that these guys would actually play it, because it's very much a co-op game. You can play it single player, but it's very much built to be a co-op game. So going through the tutorial and everything, and kind of getting re-immersed into the world of Remnant. This game, while not having a better story than the first one, the gameplay and the gunplay is leaps and bounds above the first one.
gunplay's real
Every
good.
gun that you use has a genuine weight to it, that when you pull the trigger, even if you have the mouse, the kick of the gun feels legit. It doesn't feel like you're shooting thumbtacks at them. You're shooting actual bullets, or you're shooting actual like weird plant energy, because Remnant's weird. The fact that it is kind of like a roguelike game where each world is different. You might get different items, you might get different bosses, like everything will kind of change. So Shane, his world was like a jungle planet. Meanwhile, my world was more of a kind of futuristic kind of robot place with some bugs. Definitely would be higher if it ran better, but I'm not blaming the company for that, because Run Right Here's had no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, your PC is just haunted.
It's just me. But if you have not played Remnant, it's just cursed. But if you have not played Remnant 1, don't worry about it. You can skip to Remnant 2, and there's enough class change that you can have a genuinely good time with it.
Okay. Spencer's
Nice.
number 10 is Remnant 2. Very cool. Ryan, what is your number 10?
Okay, so I asked if I could do a tie for this one, and
You're
I
starting
decided
off
to
with the fucking tie.
Yeah, because I decided to tie two games that go for a similar vibe. I love Mega Man, so I have done a tie for Gravity Circuit and a very, very last minute addition, 30XX. Both of those are very, very good Mega Man-like games. I've only played 30XX a tiny bit. I literally just got it a couple days ago, so it's a super last-minute addition to the list.
My guy, I respect it, because Gravity Circuit is the bomb.
Yes. Yeah, Gravity Circuit was on there like from moment one. But yeah, that game, Gravity Circuit, is so good. I love that game. When you mentioned it on one of the episodes last year, I picked it up, thought it was spectacular. And 30XX. I haven't played 20XX, but 30XX so far, from what I've played, insanely fun. I love roguelikes. I love Mega Man like games. The pixel art is gorgeous in that one, both of them, honestly. It's like, and both are just insanely fun, and it's filling the hole in my little heart till we get X9.
If we get X9.
We would. Hey, think positive. Think positive.
I've been burned too many times. Okay, so you know what? I should have known you would start with the tie, but I didn't see it coming. So interesting. All right. As for my number 9, this game.
Number 9?
Number 10. Sorry.
Number 10.
Listen, I'm trying to keep the show running. All right.
Multiple fucking games at this point.
So my number 10 is one that we've been waiting for a while, since the initial teaser trailer. Is very intriguing, because it was a game from a small Korean studio that seemed to be taking a different approach to a classic story, and that being the story of Pinocchio. My pick for my number 10 is Lies of P. So,
respectable.
This game is fucking phenomenal. In terms of Souls-likes, it's probably the best one, because it takes the energy and the vibe from Bloodborne and mixes it with a steampunk aesthetic, while also retelling the story of Pinocchio in a really fucked up way. It's great. And a lot of these Souls-likes come and go, and they get forgotten, because no developer really seems to be able to nail the feel of what a Souls game should feel like. Lies of P is so good that if I didn't know anything about it beforehand, it could pass as a FromSoft game. That's how good it is. The combat is super vast and super aggressive. It focuses a lot on parries, which really forces you to get good at the damn game. Because if you're not parrying, you're getting fucked. And that leads to a lot of intense encounters. But that also allows the combat to truly shine. And when this game gets going and you get into some of those tougher fights, oh man, this game feels so good to play. It is unrelenting, unforgiving in the best ways possible. And the fact that it takes Pinocchio, which is like a very classic fairy tale, and gives it this really fucked up coat of paint, it's just really cool to see. And the fact that this was made by a Korean studio that really didn't do much before this, and then they come out of the gates with this, and it's like the best Souls-like on the market, kind of crazy. So for those reasons and more, Lies of P is my number 10. My number 10. The reason it's not higher on the list is, again, because I just didn't play it enough, and I'm really sad about that, because it's a fantastic game, especially for Bloodborne heads like myself. Alrighty.
PC port when.
Nice.
PC port when. Come on, Sony. Come on. Anyway. All right.
It'll print money. It'll literally print money.
It will print money. Yes.
Print money.
All right. So number 10's out of the way. Let's move on to our number 9. Josh, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is a game that we didn't play much. This was played with my friend group of me, Spencer, Shane, and Matt. Actually, no, not even Matt. That definitely had a couple issues, especially on launch. And once again, that Spencer's PC just hated. But when we did play it, we had an absolutely fun time. Me and Shane being absolute fucking idiots, while Spencer had to deal with us being said fucking idiots. Payday 3 is my number 9 game. So it definitely had a troubling launch. It's got its issues. But when we got down to brass tacks and we got to play, it was fucking hilarious, being absolute idiots. Shane walking up to a civilian. I'm going to shoot the civilian. Shane, don't shoot the civilian.
I just shot the civilian.
Bam! Shot the civilian.
Yep.
Shot the civilian. It's just, the gunplay felt fun. The heists felt fun. Everything about it felt... I see Spencer shaking his head. I like games that I can just be an idiot in and just cause absolute hell for everyone else. And Payday 3 was that game where I got to be an absolute idiot and cause absolute hell. Could it be better? 100%. Did Spencer's PC absolutely hate it? 100%, probably because of his RAM issue.
Yeah. Did it have an absolutely horrendous launch? Oh, yes.
Absolutely it did. But was the gameplay
now
fun?
that we look at it...
But was the gameplay fun? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it was fun.
I will say for the hour that we played, me just mowing down game.
Those are always fun, but Shane, Den of Wolves.
I don't know what he's referring to.
You saw that trailer. What the hell do you know? That Game Awards? The Cyberpunk heist game?
I completely forgot about that, buddy. I'm going to be real with you. I completely forgot.
It's made by the people that made Payday 2. Like, it's kind of a big deal.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
So anyway, Spencer, what's your number 9?
Be honest with you, Spencer. And they mentioned a game from the Game Awards, unless it was Visions of Mana. I got no idea what you're talking about.
I'll be real with you. I completely forgot that existed. And now that we've...
please stop trying to get into my room. No, please stop trying to get into my room.
Are we going to have a guest appearance from Moose?
Oh, we have a special guest appearance?
He's trying.
He's trying.
Bubba, Lucy. That's my dog, by the way. Moose is my dog. No, you can't come in here. You will cause a ruckus. You're going to disappear already. It's not really a spirit.
I mean, we know that Josh's dad's going to guest star at some point, so...
100%.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for that, too. He's always a great guest actor.
Anyways,
now that we've disappointed
number 9.
You beyond all belief, Spencer, what's your number 9?
I'm used to it by now. Number 9 is a game that entered version 1.0 in 2023 that I bought as an early access game because I absolutely adore the first game. I must have played the first game over a dozen times. Little Canadian indie studio made arguably the greatest dungeon crawler of the past couple of years. That, of course, by Red Hook Studios, directed by Chris Barassa, is Darkest Dungeon 2.
That came out this year?
Yeah,
1.0
I
hit,
remember.
yep.
Huh.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just a couple of fun facts. One, the person who makes the music for these games was part of a band called the Tea Party, which is a band from our local area. My father knows all those people and is actually quite good friends with a bunch of them, including the person who made the music for Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, I had no idea about this until he told me, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, they went to high school together. But also, Darkest Dungeon does enough different to distinguish itself from Darkest Dungeon 1 while still being its own game. Instead of having like a big kind of overworld where you click and you drag and you go to the isolated dungeons, it's you control a wagon basically, and you go from point A to point B, and along the way you have to make decisions, whether it be like stopping to give some peasants some bread or stopping to, you know, learn a bit more about your characters and all that. But every time that you make a decision, you have to basically side with some of your team members. That causes your relationship to go up and down. If your relationship goes up high enough, then people will like block shots for each other. You'll get special perks. And if their relationship goes down enough, then they might not help them with something, or they might start to like cut them off in actions, and they'll get negative perks. There's so much in this game that even at the beginning when there was only 4 classes, that has more than doubled since version 1.0. And if you are ever interested in a Cthulhu-esque kind of dungeon crawler with like very, very difficult permadeath combat, 100% give Darkest Dungeon 2 a shot. You don't need to play the first game, because like the ending happens, but the game does a good job at telling you what the ending of Darkest Dungeon 1 is, and how come the world that you tried so hard to save is still completely fucked. But for a game that was in early access for, I want to say, over a year, this game runs beautifully, it looks beautifully, and it's a absolute joy to have been there from the ground floor.
And very cool, very cool.
Nice.
I own the original Darkest Dungeon for Switch. It was one of the first games.
That comes with the DLC.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it was one of the first games my sister picked up for the Switch when we first got it, which was interesting. All right, my number 8 is a game.
I thought I go next for number 9.
You know what? I'm all out of sorts, Ryan. I apologize.
You also said 8.
I also said
yeah. You also
8.
said 8.
You was 9 last time. You're going to 8.
I'm just hearing you guys talk about how much you love these games, and I'm just getting lost in it. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
Ryan,
so for
Ryan, what's your number 9? What's your number 9?
For my number 9, for a list like this, I try to balance personal taste with what I play, but I also like to value in like just general objective quality, even if it's one I haven't really experienced a whole lot of. So I don't go completely personal. So for this one, I'm putting on a game I haven't really experienced a ton of, but I know is like worth it and is like insanely good that I want to give a shout out to. My number 9 is Hi-Fi Rush, and I think Hi-Fi Rush does deserve to be on this list. Like it's a game that just came out of nowhere at the beginning of this year. You know, visually stunning. Looks like a playable Nickelodeon cartoon is what I thought when I first saw it. You know, just really cool, like very unique rhythm-based combat. Good humor, fantastic music. Won Best Sound Design in the Game Awards for a reason. And honestly, it's just a just a fantastic game from everything I've seen and the little bits that I've experienced of it. And I'm really hoping those rumors of a Switch port are true, because I would be on that day one if that came to Switch.
Well, yeah, Switch and PS5. And also, did you see the Steam version got an update that allowed DualSense support? So a lot of people are like,
Really
"Oh,
now?
so PS5 version's coming, right?"
Ooh, yes, please. I would
Yeah.
definitely get that for PlayStation as well. Just for some reason, I would love to have that game on Switch. Like just the vibe it gives off.
I'd be really interested to see how like they would utilize the DualSense with that. That would
Ooh,
probably be a really
yeah.
interesting use of that controller's
Yeah.
features.
If they did like the haptic feedback for like vibrations
saying
every
it would
time you're
probably
supposed to hit
be,
to the beat.
and on the Switch they would 100% would use the HD
HD
Rumble
Rumble,
system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, that'd be
to really
awesome.
feel the beat of the music.
Hmm. All right, very cool. One that we will definitely be talking about later.
I know for
Yes,
sure that's
we will
on
definitely
yours.
be talking about it later.
We will definitely be talking about later. Now for my number 9, I have a game that came and went, kind of flew under a lot of people's radars, and honestly, when I first played it, I wasn't even sure that I was going to vibe with it originally. And then I ended up getting the platinum for it. My pick for number 9 is a little game called Humanity. And if you don't remember what this game
Oh.
is, I wouldn't blame you, because it
That's
kind of came and went.
Is that the cat guiding the millions of people around or
It's a
something?
Shiba Inu, but yeah, close
The
enough.
dog, yeah.
The dog, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, this was announced one day in a state of play, and it came out in May. Was quietly launched into PS Plus, and you kind of didn't really hear any people talk about it. It kind of came and went, flew under a lot of people's radars. I just booted this up one day, right after I got my PS5, not long after. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. I got PS Plus, might as well check this out. Basically, the log line I would give for this game is, what if lemmings were God? That's basically the gist of Humanity. Because the whole gimmick of the game is that you are a soul in a vessel of a Shiba Inu, and you are tasked by the higher ups of the universe to guide the people to the light. And it's a whole big euphemism for death and passing on to the afterlife and yada yada yada. But it's a puzzle game where you have to guide millions upon millions of humans to the end of the level in different ways that obviously, as the game goes on, get more difficult and they introduce more mechanics. I am a big fan of puzzle games. When I get a puzzle game that I really click with, I really get into it. And something about this game really clicked with me. I'm not sure if it's the outlandish visual design, where all of the like millions of like low poly humans literally flood the screen and just like fly off of cliffs and drown and like get blown out in fans and shit. I don't know if it's the fact that the puzzle mechanics are really intricate and like down to earth. Some of these puzzles get insane. Like, some of the puzzles you have to guide several. So there's different doors that the people come out of, and they just come out in droves and they keep coming. And some puzzles will have multiple doors where people come out of, and they just go in a straight line forever. And you have to guide all of these in different ways around the level using different commands like move left, move right, jump, long jump, low gravity, float, and you have to get them to the end. And I'm not gonna lie, I needed a guide. I needed a guide for some of these because it gets really difficult. But it's one of those puzzle games where when you get to the end of a really difficult puzzle and you've figured out the solution and it all just works, it's a feeling that you can't really replicate. Um, and clearly something about this game clicked with me because I went for the platinum and I ended up getting it. I 100% the game, beat all the levels, got all of the collectibles, got the platinum trophy. I was like, man, that game made me a little smarter. So for that and more, Humanity is my number 9 on my list.
Did you ever play Baba Is You?
I did play Baba Is You, yes.
That's another game.
I also fucked
that
with
makes
Baba
you-
Is You.
Yeah, another game that makes you smarter by speaking like a caveman.
Yep.
Yep.
Baba is rock. Rock is
Baba
you?
Rock is you. Door
You
is
weird.
close. Close is Baba. Baba close.
Nothing beats Brad.
Baba Rock.
Except Rock.
Anyway, let's move on to our number 8. Josh, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is a game that I played a decent little bit. From one of my oldest favorite franchises. I really haven't played a lot lately, but the game definitely did a good job at getting me a little excited for it again, a little hopeful for it again. My number 8 was Hyperdimension Neptunia Sisters versus Sisters. Yeah, I know Shane's so disappointed.
Shane.
Fucking Nep.
The fact that I have
know
to
what?
sully my YouTube feed with this garbage.
You know what? Because here's the thing. I'm going to make it quick for you.
Rather I've
Game
seen
good.
some of the Gap review time.
Good game. Game, it's a good game. I've always been a big fan of the Neptunia series. Unfortunately, they've really just been dropping the ball so fucking hard lately. Good friend of ours, Soul, the final Soul. Big
Shout out to
Neptunia fan
Soul,
like
yeah.
Shout out to Soul, absolute homeboy. We both agree that Neptunia has just been... They took it out to the pasture.
Put the gun away, for the love of God.
Old Yeller.
Oh, I'm not putting it away. And this is definitely a good starting to get back. They haven't made a mainline title since 2015, I think, 2014. It's been a long time.
Damn,
This
that's
is
a long
finally
time.
this something that continues the main story somewhat. So it's a good game. I'm happy. Hopefully they can actually, start fucking doing more things and get better.
Yeah, hopefully they can make them,
God, please.
good.
Please, man.
That's the series that's like the story is the console wars, but as anime girls, correct?
Yep, pretty much it.
Correct. And you can level them up and they become hot.
No.
Yes.
No.
Their core forms are 100% supposed to be more hot.
Oh, their core forms are literally just new consoles.
But that's the whole point, is you level up from a PS1 to a PS2.
But you don't level them up. They always say the same shit. Anyways, fuck you.
You know what I'm talking about. Fuck you.
What's your number 8?
My number 8.
Oh, hang on. Who's hosting
is-
this goddamn show?
Me.
No.
It's my show now.
Put the gun away.
My show now.
Spencer,
Demonetized.
Spencer, what's your number 8?
So, YouTube, we should probably state that that's a fake gun. It's not a real
it's
gun.
absolutely fake.
Yeah, it doesn't.
For any Resident Evil heads out there, this is Barry Burton's Samurai Edge.
Oh
Yes.
shit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homie.
But my number 8 is from one of my favorite genres of all media, not just video games. That, of course, being death games and fun shit like that. So from Studio 2Kyo Games and Spike Chunsoft, directed by Takahiro Suzuki, it is Master Detective Archives Rain Code.
Oh, I completely forgot about that game. Oh.
So, little bit about me, little backstory. I genuinely love Danganronpa, all of it. The fucking anime, specifically season 3, because the original anime takes a lot out of the games. Danganronpa 1, Trigger Happy Havoc. Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Danganronpa V3. We don't talk about Ultra Destroyed Girls because that's a bad game. Yeah, Despair Girls is bad, and I don't like to talk about it. But this is from the same people who, anime-wise, you might know them. They did Akudama Drive, and they did Tribe 9. It's the same people. It's basically all of the Danganronpa team. But Master Detective Archives Rain Code has 3 of my favorite things. 1, a world that is hyper-capitalist and dystopian, with a lot of neon and a lot of weird future tech because it's run by a big conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
2, it is a detective mystery game like Ace Attorney, where you have to solve logic puzzles and you have to find evidence to refute things like Danganronpa. And 3, it has the insanity of a Danganronpa game. your
Yeah.
little ghost chick turns into a hot girl, and then in order to figure things out, she jumps inside of a cannon, and the cannon shoots her into a barrel, and then you have to break the barrel to spell a word, and then she busts out of the barrel. Okay, that's tip of the iceberg for the
Nothing
insanity
he said is
is
inaccurate.
that is the tip of the iceberg for what is Master Detective Archives. It's not a short game either. It's a pretty hefty game, and it is everything about it is like there's a lot of it's a fascinating world a la Akudama, while still being, if you understand your Ace Attorneys, your Danganronpas, very, very easy game to get into. The first chapter has one of the most insane twists I've ever seen in a game like this. Like, shit goes off the rails almost immediately. Characters are fun. English dub, because I play English dub, is very, very solid. And we just need more people to play these games, because then more are going to be made. And I know it's a very specific subgroup of people that like things like Danganronpa, but dear lord, get the insanity and just ingest it and hold it in you so you can actually experience V3 and stuff like that. Because do yourself a favor, pick this up on the Switch. 100%.
Yes. Yeah. Consider that an add-on honorable mention for me, because I didn't play a ton of that game. I played up through like the end of the first chapter of that one, but I really liked it. Need to go back to it, and probably would make the list if I played more of it.
Okay. Ryan, what's your number 8?
So my number 8 is one that you had just mentioned a short bit ago, Shane. That's Sea of Stars. I thought
There it is.
I am very surprised it's this low on your list, seeing as how you had nothing but incredible things to say about it.
Yeah, it's a great game. That's partially just because this year was last year was so insanely loaded. Like this past year was absolutely ridiculously cracked out of its mind. And it's actually not the highest JRPG I have on my list, but I'll get to that in a bit. And but yeah, Sea of Stars, fantastic indie JRPG. The pixel art is amazing. Music is very, very good. Really like the battle system, kind of Mario RPG-esque with the action commands and all that. It's just a very fun game to go through. Writing can be kind of hit and miss in some areas, and I admittedly kind of was like the ending did kind of me a little bit on it, but otherwise, like, just very, very solid game overall, and definitely one of the higher recommendations I would give to anybody who's like a big fan of like classic Super Nintendo, PS1 era JRPGs that are looking for something in a more modern time. Like this and Chained Echoes. Like Chained Echoes would have been on this list if Chained went by Game Awards rules, because that game came out in December of 2022.
Yeah, and I've seen more than one person bring up the comparison.
Yeah, those two are going to be compared a lot, I will say.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, my number 8 is a game that's technically not new. It's a game that came out many moons ago. That was remade for the Nintendo Switch. And speaking of RPGs, my number 8 is the Super Mario RPG remake.
Yeah.
Now, this is coming from a person who played a tiny little bit of the original Super Nintendo game in his child youth. Didn't play the whole thing, but what I did play was very good. And I saw them announce this remake, and I was like, okay, here's my opportunity to finally play this game through to the end. And I did. And what it is definitely a blueprint for a lot of the more modern Mario RPGs that we see nowadays, like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi. You can definitely tell this laid the groundwork, because it's a little more bare bones than some of those later games, but it laid the groundwork for a reason, because it is an incredibly solid little RPG, very charming. The graphics in this remake are delightful. All of the new chibi models look silly and goofy, and I love them.
You're delightful and silly and goofy.
The combat is Simplistic, yes, but sometimes simple is key because I never got bored of the combat through my entire 13-hour playthrough. I never once got tired of the combat. It was one of those RPGs where I actually looked forward to fighting enemies and random encounters because I enjoyed it that much. And like Ryan said, it's got the action commands where you press a button, timed with your attacks to add extra damage. Very simplistic, but it gets the job done, and it makes each encounter fun and exciting. The story,
it's Mario.
It's Mario.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's a goofy, funny story.
You don't play Mario games for the stories, but you play JRPGs for the stories, but you don't play Mario games for them. So when you got a Mario RPG with a story that really doesn't matter and doesn't really go anywhere, it's fine. It gets the job done. It's serviceable. It really is the aesthetics and the gameplay that carry this game.
And the music.
Ooh, Geno!
And the music.
Stop calling him that. His name is not fucking Geno. It's not. It is not a planet from Star Wars.
Do you say Genos from fucking One Punch Man? Do you say Genos or Genos?
The dub does, so that's what I
say.
him.
Genos.
I say Genos.
Well, you're wrong, Spencer. According to Bang Zoom Entertainment, you are wrong.
Dude,
Genos, Geno, okay, because Geo comes from geographic, which comes from the Earth, okay? Like, nobody calls this man Geno.
Excuse me, sir, and he's a doll.
Dude, the pronunciation can just vary. The name Kratos is spelled the same way. In God of War, it's Kratos. In Tales of Symphonia, it's Kratos. It's like it can be spelled the same way.
Whoever calls them Kratos needs to go to jail.
In Symphonia, it's Kratos.
Actually, you know what? First off, he's right, and also play Symphonia because those games rule. Secondly, I can already tell that Ryan, like myself, is a Final Fantasy fan, so he understands Aerith, Eris, Tifa, Tifa, Red Chi, Red 13, Yuffie, Yuffie, Kate Sith, Bahamut, Bahamut. It's
Baja Blast.
I will say just to a point with the shortness of like the story that you were mentioning, like Shane. I think it helps because this is a very bite-sized RPG. You can beat the remake 100%. In 10 hours. Like you can beat this game super quickly.
My playthrough was 12 and a half hours, and I did a few side things here and there, but it was mostly main quest. I think it's perfect length. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Because I feel if it was any longer, then all of the things I said about not getting bored of the combat would start to wane. So I think for what it is, especially since it's a game from like 1995, 6?
95.
I think 6, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect length. It's everything it needs to be, wraps itself up in a nice little bow, and then is on its way. So
what 6? Because Chrono Trigger was 5.
Okay. So for those reasons and more,
March in Japan, it was May here in the States.
Okay. So for those reasons and more, the Mario RPG remake is my number 8. Moving on to 7. Josh, what is your number 7?
Have you ever wanted to shoot your friends?
Oh, all the time, brother.
I think you clearly do.
I mean,
have you ever gone just into a heated debate and just wanted to just bam right to your friends? Well, with number 7, Friends versus Friends. Now you can't. My number 7 choice is Friends versus Friends.
We played so much of that.
We played a lot of this game. This was a super, super fun. I believe it was an indie title too.
Yeah.
Game where it's either 1-on-1, 1-on-1, or 2-on-2, card-based first-person shooter, and it was really fun. It ran wonderfully. The gameplay was fun and hilarious. The maps were all really well designed. The characters were all goofy and zany. The game itself was goofy and zany when you can shoot your friend's arm off with a sniper rifle. What a great time.
As like a weird furry man.
A weird furry man.
A weird furry British man.
Yep.
But it was very well made, and it was just a genuinely fun time to play with the guys. because it's the same thing that made Mario RPG so great is it's bite-sized. You can play for 30 minutes to an hour, have a good time, and get off. It's not something that you have to sink a lot of time to. There's definitely a skill ceiling, or there's definitely a high skill ceiling. Like I can definitely see people getting really good at it, but just
this is definitely a game where people would get sweaty just because they can.
Yep. But for a fun game, just to fuck around with your friends and shoot each other, it's a great game. Really, really fun game. I was really having fun playing it with you guys.
I will say, runs perfectly on the Steam Deck. So
very well. Oh, the showing off too. Games do not have to have good graphics to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because every time we played this together, I played it exclusively on deck, and it ran beautifully. So
yep. Who would have thought? You don't have to have high poly counts and fucking super high fidelity to have a fun, good-looking game.
Mm-hmm. Spenny, what is your number 7?
It was already mentioned from a small little South Korean dev. Specifically, it is NeoWiz Games and Round 8 Studio. Directed by Choi Ji-won. It is Lies of P. I've put in more time than Shane, but not as much time as our friend Matt, who has beaten it.
He 100%. He 100% would have had this on his list if he was here.
Yes. 100%. I'm probably about halfway through. This is in the most positive light Bloodborne with puppets. It is Pinocchio meets Bloodborne. It is Sekiro plus Bloodborne plus Pinocchio. And it's like, it's the original Pinocchio. Like, it's the Chris Coloni, or Colini, I forget his last name. But it's the Italian man. This is the OG Pinocchio story, where Pinocchio is an asshole. He doesn't want to listen to anybody, and the game does things that are genuinely, I would say, that FromSoft should take notes. The game has a system that if there is an NPC that you're supposed to talk to, but you miss out on it because they're tucked away, when you go to the lamppost to kind of teleport, basically like a bonfire, they have a little symbol next to the bonfire that basically says you missed content. Like there's an NPC that you need to talk to here. So the game tells you, like, you can't really miss anything unless you pay zero attention. Gameplay is smooth. There's so many different types of builds because of the combat aesthetic, where you take a handle and a blade and you match the two together, and one is responsible for your moveset and the other is responsible for like a special attack. So as a person who usually plays dex builds in these types of games, I chose the rapier, and the rapier does a long like thrust attack. And just the aesthetic of the game, it runs incredibly well on even my computer that has issues with RAMs of that. I hope this sets the stage for people to do more unique takes on the formula, because as much as I love FromSoft, we need more stuff like this kind of weird quality mixed with the ability to do something different. Like, we can say it's basically a FromSoft game, but the fact that it's not makes me appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he was done talking or if he just wanted to take a swig before he finished.
I'm good.
Okay. Ryan, my man, what is your number 7?
Right. Number 7, The Dead Rises, baby. Pikmin 4 comes back from the grave.
Holy shit. Holy
you want
moly.
to talk about You want to talk about a game that went through development hell but came out the other side all the better. God, that game just so good to see Pikmin get what's due for it after it's been trucking along, just been such a good series, and 4 just evolves in such a good way. Game looks absolutely stunning. stunning for the Switch. It's a visual treat. Just the general gameplay is incredibly fun. I love like the new Pikmin that they introduced in that game. Feels like they learned a lot from everything they've tried with 1, 2, and 3 and built upon that in a really good way. I like having the much wider cast of characters in that game as opposed to the other 3, where it was a much more condensed group previously. And I just think everything that from this that Pikmin had built upon was leading to this moment where now you got what I think can be argued as the best game in the series. It's sold incredibly well. Pikmin's future is very much secure, where it's going to be doing almost certainly going to be doing a lot more and getting a lot more games. Like Pikmin 5 is definitely going to happen now. And I just hope the series continues on and can keep doing good for itself, because after all that hell that fans went through since like 2015, if Pikmin 4 is nearly completed, that infamous Miyamoto quote, they finally got it and it's damn good.
It's really nice to see this series come back the way it did. Especially since it's been almost 10 years between 3 and this.
Yeah, 10 years, because 3 was 2013. It was exactly 10 years.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Pikmin come back and for it to get the praise that it rightfully deserves. I saw
Absolutely.
multiple people, mutuals that I follow, big news outlets, like content creators, everyone seemed to love this game. And it got quite a few nods at the Game Awards, so clearly...
Yeah, won Best Strategy Game at the Game Awards.
Yeah, over Fire Emblem. So clearly people were into Pikmin 4, so it's cool to see the series make the return that it did.
Yeah, it's one of those feel-good stories when a series that goes away for so long comes back and just bangs.
And we definitely needed the feel-good stories last year. What with, everything else that was going on. My number 7 is a game that's already been mentioned by my good friend Ryan, the NCS Master. As a fellow Mega Man head, when I found this game originally, I knew I found something that was going to be worth talking about. And oh boy, is this game worth talking about. My pick for number 7 is Gravity Circuit.
Yeah.
More so Mega Man Zero than anything. This game really harkens back to that era of Mega Man, where it's Mega Man X mixed with Zero, where you have the dashing and the wall jumping, and it's got a lot of similar level design to Mega Man X, I would say. It definitely has that X feel, but it's got that Zero combat because it's primarily hand-to-hand combat oriented. You're getting up and close, doing melee combat, you're doing combos. But the one thing that stands out in this game is the grapple and how you throw enemies with it. Because once you defeat an enemy, they don't immediately blow up and disappear. They're put into a down state where you can actually from there pick up the corpse of the enemy and use it as a projectile. So, ironically, this becomes a flow state kind of game where you get a combo on an enemy, you down them, pick them up, run through the level, toss them at another enemy, and then grapple towards that enemy, pick them up, throw them again. It just kind of gets into that flow where you're doing combos, lobbing enemies, grappling across the level, and it's a ton of fun. There's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to that. It takes a little bit to get used to, especially because it's a little jank in some places. I felt like the controls weren't 100% where I wanted them to be. They definitely felt a little stiff at times. But once you get going into like the latter half of the game and it starts to click, this game's incredibly fun. And it definitely held me over, seeing as how we're still waiting for that fucking Mega Man game. Capcom, stop doing your shit-ass Street Fighter microtransactions and get on it, please, because I need it. But thankfully, Gravity Circuit is here to fill the hole in my heart for now. And I very much enjoyed my brief time with this game. Definitely, if you're a Mega Man head like Ryan and I, give this game a shot. It will definitely hold you over, and you will definitely enjoy the hell out of it. All right, moving on to number 6. Josh, what's your number 6, buddy?
Well, I pose a question. When you think pigeons, what do you think? Government-controlled androids?
This is
People,
that high on your
like,
list? Are you kidding me?
Birds like to poop all over the place? No.
Dude, this
I'm
game
thinking
rules.
of pigeons that can keep the rhythm and or Headbangers Rhythm Royale. Yes, it is this high up on my list because I love rhythm games.
This game rules, dude.
And
this
game rules. This is an incredibly fun, silly, wacky, God bless France Rhythm Royale game. Me and Spencer have played the living shit out of this game because it's genuinely an incredibly well-made game. The music whips, the gameplay is fun, there's variety, there's just so much to say about it. Like, pigeons fucking it's a great game, a very, very well-made game. I'm so happy with it.
And the matches are not long. They're upwards of maybe 10 minutes at the most. So it's real quick, in and out, in and out.
And my thing is, it's one of the rare battle royales that doesn't attract a lot of sweaties. It's a very casual rhythm royale, casual battle royale.
Because you either have rhythm or you don't. And
exactly.
That's your learning curve.
And the wise words from Phineas and Ferb: "I ain't got rhythm." No, I ain't got rhythm. Anyways, yeah, great game. Very, very incredible game. God bless France.
God bless France.
God bless France.
I'm real surprised this is that high on your list, but it's welcome. I appreciate seeing a little gem like this get that high up. Because I played this game with Spencer and Josh. I had a fun time too. It's really silly, really wacky, but it's at its core a really solid rhythm game. And the multiplayer element makes it that much more fun. So, good choice. Good choice. I respect it.
Man.
Spencer, what's your number 7?
Yes. Think about it. We're not on 7.
What? Yes, we are.
We're on 6.
No, we're not. 6. We're on 7.
No, we're not.
Wait.
We're on 6.
We're on 6. I just talked about Lies of P.
What's your number 6?
My number 7 is Lies of P. My number 6, on the other hand, is another sequel, making it the 3rd sequel on this list. For the Switch, I played the original on Xbox Game Pass. Little RPG from a small little studio called Square Enix. Directed by Keisuke Miyauchi. Close enough. Octopath Traveler 2, baby. Octopath fucking Traveler. So Octopath Traveler 1 was one of the biggest surprises of the year when I played it. What a masterful fucking game, first and foremost. The entire concept of, like, the path system and how all of these stories are, like, quasi-interlinked, but they're different places, and everybody has, like, their own action, so you can solve these side quests and these puzzles in varying different ways. Whether you want to, like, try to, like, inquire about somebody and, like, learn about some information in order to get solve the side quest, or whether you want to walk up to the person and just beat the ever-living shit out of them, and then just complete the side quest. So what makes Octopath Traveler better, in my opinion, is kind of threefold. One, they've expanded on the path system. You now have 2 paths. You have an action that you do in the morning and an action that you do at night, and they are different actions. So, for example, our first, one of the characters, so, like, this is the box art, okay? But the guy in the middle, that guy right there,
the box art.
He is the, like, kind of, he was the scribe from last game, the one that when you go into battle, he reveals one of the enemy's weaknesses. The mage. He has the same ability in the day where he can, like, kind of he can use his like knowledge to glean information from people.
No.
But he's also in jail. So at night, his night action is he just robs people. You just beat them up and then you take their shit. Second, it is a different type of fantasy. While Octopath Traveler 1 is very high fantasy, this is more of like a steampunk-esque fantasy. So you have like full cities and you have cars and you have like less high fantasy stuff, which I always appreciate because I like steampunk. I think it's a very, very good genre. And thirdly, the combat is the same, but they've fleshed it out more. So it's one of those things where they took some of the issues that the first game had and just kind of expanded on it and made it better. Same basic story where it's you go into a town, you find the person, you play the little prologue chapter, you collect all the stuff, and then you carry on, and all the stories kind of intermingle. But as a sequel, it does what a sequel should do, and it makes what was good in Octopath Traveler 1 even better in Octopath Traveler 2.
Okay. Not enough love for this game, I feel like.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Yes.
Don't know why it got snubbed quite a bit last year, but I digress.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least we are giving it the respect it deserves now. So thank you, Spencer. Ryan, what is your number 6?
Always.
I've always been a big platformer guy, and boy howdy do we have some good selections this year, including one from the main platformer boy himself. I got Super Mario Wonder up here at number 6.
Okay. Surprised this is this far down, but then again, 2023 was cracked.
Stacked as fuck. And again, that's one outside the top 5, so
Yeah.
yeah, this game just such a breath of fresh air after the new series was getting very, very stale for a long time. Like, Mario just really needed something like this, a big, big shakeup. Proper original 2D game. First one in like 11 years for Mario since New Mario U. And just everything. The style, the music, the look of everything here. It's just an insanely fun, well-made game from and it's Mario. You can pretty much always trust Mario in
Mario,
basically
baby.
any regard. What?
Mario, baby.
Yeah. Mario's one of the most reliable franchises to just have some good, damn great fun, and I think this game more than does an amazing job at that. I 100%ed the whole thing, and honestly, I just never got tired of it. It was a joy to play through. I'm really hopeful for what they do in the future with 2D Mario, because I think this is a very good foundation to continue going onwards. And real cool for this game, enter a new era with Mario's actor, because Kevin Afghani officially took over starting with this game. So a pretty historic game for that part as well.
Shout out to Kevin because I think he did a great job as Mario and Luigi in this game. I know a lot of people are like, it doesn't sound quite right, but honestly, no, he sounds right.
Yeah.
He sounds
good. He sounds good. We've just been listening to the same guy do it for 30 years, so hard to get that out of your head for a while.
Oh yeah,
old habits die hard. But yeah, fucking great game. That don't worry, we'll be talking about more later. Let's go.
Oh
baby.
yes.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. My pick for number 6 is a game that literally came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was expecting this game to release on April Fool's Day of all days. My pick for number 6 is The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's dead.
He's dead.
You killed him?
He's dead. We killed him.
Capitalism killed him.
It's crazy how the Sonic social team, out of nowhere, dropped a random visual novel for free on Steam as an April Fool's joke. And yet, it's one of the best games I played last year because this game is dripping, oozing with the stuff that I love from Sonic. It's got the vibe, it's got the charisma, it's got the charm. You can tell that this very small team put their all into this game. The writing is spectacular. Everyone is on point character-wise. The artwork is astounding. They got artists from the IDW comics to do the art for this game, and it looks fantastic. Colors pop. All of the character designs are fucking peak. And the story itself, obviously, it's supposed to be a quasi-joke game, but it's just actually a really cool murder mystery on a train, of all things. All the best murder mysteries are on trains.
Name two.
This one and this one.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah. And the Polar Express.
Yeah. God, I wish those kids got murdered on Polar Express, to be honest.
Anyway.
I wish for their death.
Oh God, they're my face.
Oh no! Oh no! But yeah, this game is just a really charming time, and if you're a longtime fan of Sonic, I feel like this kind of hits you a little bit here, because these are these characters that we've been with for years upon years, that we grew up with. In one of the best story-based games, and one that nailed the writing and the characterization, and it's just a silly, goofy time. And it was free on Steam, still is, almost a year later. So if you're a Sonic fan and you want to see good characterization for these guys in a cool little package that'll take you less than 4 hours to get through, play The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, because there is no reason a joke game should be this good. That's basically the closing statement. All right, boys. We're halfway through the list. It's time for the top 5. Josh, what's your number 5?
I'm starting my number 5 off with a game that definitely, I think, has been talked about before, actually. Ryan brought this up. It is a series that I got into with its last release. A small little indie game called Fire Emblem Three Houses. And who would have thought I enjoyed the sequel just as much as not sequel, but I enjoyed the next game in the series as much as I enjoyed the original. Fire Emblem Engage is my number 5.
Nice.
This is this game was a celebration of Fire Emblem. I think this is 30th anniversary for 30th anniversary for Fire Emblem, which congratulations. I mean, incredible game series going on for 30 years strong. The game was great. The characters were all very, very wonderful and lovely. It's a world. Fire Emblem characters and the Fire Emblem world is just a world you can get yourself engrossed with and just fall in love with immediately. You'll find at least one character that you'll just really either resonate with, you really like the characterization of. The story was great. Also, I love our Colgate MC, keeping our teeth clean while also killing all the bad guys.
Fighting off bacteria, not getting gingivitis.
Fire Emblem's combat too is always something I've loved. I'm a big fan of turn-based tactical games like this, and this really is a game that you can have a lot of variety with. I really love the engage rings. Just adds another level of customization and gameplay. If you have a unit you really like, give them your best ring. Make them do what you want, but it's just so much variety. A lot of really good free DLC too. I want to add on to that. Just a really great game. Very, very happy with it, and a great way to start off, for me at least, to start off the top 5 list.
I will say this was the game that I wanted to play to get into Fire Emblem, but then I played Three Houses instead because I felt that was a better starting point.
Absolutely.
And I fucking loved Three Houses, so I am very stoked to play this whenever I get a chance to.
I am sure you will love it as much as you do Three Houses. I will say I don't think it's as good as Three Houses.
Well, I know it was divisive because a lot of people who got into Fire Emblem through Three Houses didn't like how anime it was. And to that I say, bro, it's Japanese.
Have you played Fire Emblem? What was the one on the 3DS? I'm trying to remember.
Awakening.
Have you played Fire Emblem Awakening? Yeah.
Which is exactly what this is. As a person who has played a lot of Fire Emblem, I love Fire Emblem. As much as Three Houses is a masterpiece. That was an outlier in Fire Emblem. That was something that's taking it into a new direction. Engage is more in line with your Awakenings, your Fates, your
more traditional Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's anime as shit. I would say that Engage, as much as I love it, has more in common with the SMT spin-off than it does with Three Houses.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions, that's what it was called.
Yep, that's fair.
All right.
Good game, though. Very good
Spenny,
game.
since you're already talking, why don't you keep talking some more and tell me what your number 5 is?
Sounds good. Number 5 from a series. The best series. I can't believe that this company has given us the game of the year of 2024 already. That, of course, being RGG Studio, directed by Ryosuke Hori, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who... God, what's the full title? The man who...
Come on, man. For the love of God.
The man who erased his name.
The man who erased his name, thank you. The one time I didn't write it down.
I don't even play the game.
Yeah. I'm not playing that game. I'm playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, now on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox One Series S, and PC.
I will say I've put 20 hours into Infinite Wealth in just the last 2 days. So.
I have not checked. I think I'm at close to 10 hours, and after this podcast done, I'm playing more.
I unfortunately have to go to bed because I have to work tomorrow. But anyway, tell me about why Gaiden is so good.
So Gaiden is the shortest, aside from maybe
6,
the zombie one, 6 as well. But Gaiden is a perfect prequel. Okay, it is to complete it 20 hours to 100% it. Probably 30.
I beat it main story and doing a lot of the side stuff. It was just over 15.
Yeah, I did almost all the side stuff. Well, I did all the sub stories and stuff like that, but I didn't 100% it, and it took me 22. So 100%ing is not difficult for this game, and it is a really good introduction to Yakuza if you don't want to play Yakuza 0 to 6. So here's why I say that, okay? Everybody wants everybody to get into Yakuza and start at 0 and work their way up. Because as much as, that's what I want people to do, because those games are incredible. But some people don't have the time and energy to go through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you just want to start a Yakuza game and you don't give a shit about the story, you can start with Gaiden. You'll lose some of the stuff because it kicks off of the end of 6 and runs concurrent with Like a Dragon. But if you really just want to play Like a Dragon, you don't care about this whole story, you can do Like a Dragon Gaiden and 8 and be completely fine. It is a separate, unique story. I urge you to play through 0, 1, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on, because all of this series is incredible and 100% worth your time. But this game in particular is so short and so quasi-disconnected that it really has nothing to do with Yakuza 0 to 5. It really just has to do with the ending of 6, and if you can get that, then you can continue on. Gameplay is fun. I get to be Spider-Man. That's always fun. I get to roll around on rocket shoes. I get to use exploding cigarettes. It's a ton of fun. So in a game, it's difficult because, once again, it's one of those things where, as I said, I'd like you to play all the other games, but if you wanted to play Gaiden, you could play Gaiden. You might not get everything, but you'll get enough. And that's really all that matters, especially considering that this series is now incredibly popular in the West. And people are trying to get into this series through Yakuza 7, through Like a Dragon, and they might not have time to go through, the other, 20-odd years of Yakuza games. So if you want, this game's fun. It's 20 hours. It's a nice short time. The ending made me cry like a small child. It is extremely emotional. I played it in sub, so I can say that Takia Kuroda, the guy who voices Kiryu, top of his game. This is probably like a career high for him. Shane played the dub, so Yong Ye took over as Kiryu, and I heard he did a pretty good job. So far, he does a good job in Infinite Wealth. But give it a shot. It's 20 hours. Can't really...
It's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass.
Please.
All right. Ryan, what is your number 5?
Oh, I'm going to be shouting out one Spencer mentioned earlier and what I personally consider the most underrated game of the year, and that's Octopath Traveler 2.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The game should have gotten more love. It was so unfairly buried. It is spectacular. It learned so much from the first game. Gorgeous pixel art, amazing evolution, just a fantastic game overall. And I think the best JRPG of the year, in my opinion. I think it's just that damn good. The HD 2D series just does not miss, and this continues it. And honestly, the fact that this game was not nominated for Best Soundtrack at the Game Awards was a crime, an absolute crime against humanity.
Well, I mean, a lot of the things about the Game Wars this year were a crime against humanity, but we don't like to talk about that at this point.
Yes. But yeah, amazing game. Just absolutely spectacular. I hope they continue this hot streak with the HD 2D series. I don't know if we'll get Octopath Traveler 3, but if they continue to just make more original games in the HD 2D line. What?
Dragon Quest 3 remake, where are you at?
Yeah. Yeah, where you at, Dragon Quest 3 remake? Looking for that.
I need it.
Oh yeah. Would you agree, Ryan, that this has like some of the best sprite work in gaming? Like,
yes. Yeah, the HD 2D series in general just does, honestly. Like somehow the HD 2D series continues to keep looking better with every game that it makes. Like, I thought it peaked with Live Alive, and this arguably looks even better than Live Alive. It's immaculate. I love good sprite work, and this is the top of the class.
All right. Easy peasy. Already talked about that game before, but moving on to my number 5. It's good to be back, baby. We going all city with this shit, baby. My number 5 is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
I still need to play this game. I still need to play it.
I'm so surprised that you haven't yet, because I know you, like me, are a fellow Jet Set head.
Oh, obviously. And a fellow Naganuma head, of course.
And a fellow Naganuma head, our Lord and Savior, greatest human who ever has graced us as a species. Bomb Rush is, what if you took Jet Set Grind, remade it in the modern day, and removed all of the jank? That's this game. Has the same spirit, the same vibe, the same energy, counterculture, 90s punk aesthetic, take down the establishment, and do a little bit of hip hop in between all of it. A little bit of Tony Hawk, what with the tricks and the grinds. And also, cool thing about this game is that they give you different vehicles that you can use. You don't just have to use your jet skates. You can use skateboards. You can use BMXs. You can use, I believe there's like scooters and shit. It's really cool. And you can just free run. Like, you can just run without the skates and still be just fine. It's really cool. The levels are all massive, but they're so intricately designed that you never get lost, because one thing leads you to another, one landmark to another, everything's interconnected. And just moving in this game is like the best shit ever. It's just so fun, and getting Tony Hawk combos while you're spray painting graffiti, while you're beating up cops, it's just a grand old time. Team Reptile did an absolutely phenomenal job with this game. A real passing of the torch from Jet Set, and even though Jet Set is coming back officially now, I don't think that reboot is gonna come even close to capturing the same mood vibe as something like this. This is true essence of what Jet Set was back in the day.
Hell yeah.
And goddamn Naganuma, fuck, why isn't the soundtrack on Spotify, for the love of God? Best soundtrack that came out last year. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, Hi-Fi Rush. I love you to death, but you can't beat Hideki Naganuma. It's just not possible. So yeah, if you're a fan of Jet Set Radio and you want to play a new Jet Set game, play Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, because it's everything that you've probably wanted from a new Jet Set over the last 20 years. Minus the jank, we going all city, down with the establishment. Just can't get enough.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother man. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, brother man. Ooh,
all right, we're on to number 4. Josh, you came back at a good time. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is a game that has already been brought up by Mr. One Spencer. Now, his obviously scored lower on his list due to a couple of reasons. For me, I really, really love this game. It is Remnant 2.
I am very surprised it's this high on your list.
I played a lot of it solo.
That is fair. I do remember you played a lot of this without us. Yes.
I really, really had a fun time with it. This is just, if we're talking about games that give a really good Soulsborne experience, this gave a very Soulsborne experience for me. The combat was so fluid. The systems inside were great. The gameplay was incredible. The gunplay was incredible. The world and everything around it just felt alive. It was just a really, really fun experience. I agree with I do agree with Spencer. The story was, I don't know, it was a story. There are story aspects, but the gameplay, hot damn! And the multiplayer, when it worked, was very fun. Me and Spencer had a grand old time. And you know Shane, sometimes when he shot me in the head with a 12 gauge.
I did shoot in the head with the 12 gauge, yeah.
A couple times.
A couple times.
It was a very, very fun game, and I had a great time with it. I definitely am still going to play it more. This was definitely like one of the biggest surprises for me this year when we decided to play it. Spencer was always like, hey, try it out. And I was like, damn, this is good. This is really good.
One of the best shooters of last year, I would argue, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Just the gun feel and the shooting mechanics are just so tight. It just makes the repetitive action of just shooting monsters over and over again not feel repetitive. It's one of those games where just the shooting's so good you could do it for 30 hours straight and never get tired of it. And that's what I love about Remnant. It reminds me a lot of when Destiny first came out and everyone was like, God damn, the shooting in this game is tight as hell. That's what this reminds me of.
Yep. 100%.
All right, Spencer, what is your number 4?
So my number 4 is a game that Ryan brought up as a honorable mention. And it's a game that apparently he might not have been as hot enough to put on the top 10, but so far, I assume he beat it. I haven't yet. So from Creative Business Unit 3 at Square Enix, directed by Hiroshi Takai and Kazutoyo Maehiro, is Final Fantasy 16. So I have not finished the game, being completely honest and upfront.
I have.
Yes. I have just got to I'm trying to say this without spoiling it for Shane.
Yeah, because I want to play it.
Yeah, because he wants to play it. I have just taken the mantle of somebody. There's a time skip. There's a time skip. 1 second. I'm just going to side chat you.
Yeah, when taking the mantle of somebody, do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just message me.
Yeah. So somebody is no longer around with us.
Oh,
He's trying, man. He's trying.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Times have changed.
Yeah, okay. I do
Okay.
believe I know what you're referring to now.
Yeah, so I'm at that part of the game right now, and everything that I've done with this game just screams that this was made by the Final Fantasy XIV team. And that is for better and for worse. The game,
Yes.
the side content specifically, plays like an MMO. The missions are very much go to place, beat up number of thing, or collect number of item, and come back.
Yeah. Especially, I'll just tell you, dude, since you're still pretty decently early on, just ignore most of the side quests. If you see one with a plus sign, play those. Ignore pretty much the majority of all the other ones.
They're all basically the same.
It's all fetch quest stuff, basically. That's uninteresting. You get a few. What?
I hate RPGs, man. My one issue with every RPG is the fucking fetch quest. There's always a ton of them, and they're never fun.
You get some good story and character moments out of some of them, but you don't know which ones they are, and the rewards are never worth it from any of them.
No, I'm getting like 250 gil. Like I'm getting like magic ash, which you get everywhere. I'm like, okay,
there's not much to spend money on in this game.
there is not. Can I just say one of my least favorite things is the fact that your fucking healing items are capped.
Yeah.
That's it's a pain in my ass when I'm like, I would like to carry 9 million potions, but because of the system, I can only carry 4. And once they're used up unless you find them or you die and you get your resources back. With that being said, because I know it sounds weird that I have this at 4, the story, at least up to the point that I'm at, is beyond a shadow of a doubt the best Final Fantasy story at this point in time. The chapters are long. They cover a lot of content. The gameplay is incredibly fun. The combat system is a more action-based combat, but not as action-based as 15 was. It is also not as hack and slashy / action based as the 7 remake is. It's an RPG, but it doesn't have as much like combo potential, quote unquote, as 15 did with all of its weaponry and the switching system. With that being said, story, you can tell this is made up by the 14 people because the story is incredible so far. The music is breathtaking. Soken did an incredible job with every piece of music. How they slide in the classic themes and tunes of Final Fantasy, like the prelude theme and all that, and how it comes up there with the music and it swells. It's really, really inspired. Everything that I've played makes me enjoy the story. There is so much lore in this. If you are like me and you like to read about the backstories of things, Jesus Christ, is there a lot to fucking read about. There is 2 NPCs at this point in time that can only be described as lore libraries.
Yeah.
So, once I beat it, will it be at number 4? Who's to know? But as of the point that I am at, aside from those 2 foibles, this game is incredible and makes me incredibly happy to be a Final Fantasy fan, as a person who has played it since Final Fantasy... Technically, 8 was the first one I played, but I also played 3 on the DS at the same time. 9 is the best. I will not be taking questions. And it just continues to show that Yoshi P and the team should be able to do more than just the MMO.
All right.
Sick.
Definitely one I want to play because picked this up with my PS5 because Bones wanted to play it, and watching her play it every time, I'm like, this looks like the sickest game ever made. So this is definitely on my list to play. But moving on, Ryan, what is your number 4?
Number 4, gonna stick with 4. It's Resident Evil 4, the remake. Just a spectacular remake. One that many people thought was gonna be unnecessary, but Capcom proved us wrong. They put a lot of heart, a lot of soul into this, did the original game a ton of respect, fantastic production values, amazing visuals, tight gameplay. They just continue the hot streak that they've been on for like 7 years at this point, man. RE4 remake, just another on point. I love RE2. That RE2 was my game of the year for 2019. I stand by RE3 remake is great. I will forever stand by that. I completely disagree with anybody who thinks that that's a bad game. And RE4 remake just continues to punch it through. And I don't know where they're going to go next with the Resident Evil remakes. Maybe they'll do Code Veronica, maybe 5, but
I genuinely hope they do 5.
yeah, 5 would be cool.
Really?
5 would be really cool.
5 would be, because 5 was the best co-op experience for Resident Evil.
Yeah. Five's a very good game. It's just not like a
is.
great Resident Evil game.
No. But if I would be Code Veronica would deserve a remake, though. I think Code Veronica.
I'm definitely in the Code Veronica camp. I feel like that's definitely not only deserving of a remake, but definitely needs one at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, 4 just they did a fantastic job with it through and through. Captured a lot of the heart of the original while still upping the horror elements. Like it definitely remake gets a lot more intimidating than the original game did. You feel the horror elements a fair bit more with remake. And kudos to them for managing to flesh that out while also not losing a lot of the charm that the original had.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd everyone go?
Bingo.
Bingo?
Bingo. Your right hand comes off.
Don't worry. There will be
no thanks, bro.
Don't worry. These two will definitely be talking about that more later on. I know for sure. But my number 4 is a game that a lot of games seem to come out of nowhere last year. Were big surprises, and this was one that a lot of people definitely did not see coming, especially in the way that it did. It was a surprise reveal at the Summer Games Fest opening night live with Jeff. Little ditty, I don't know if you've heard of him. Been around for a while, very niche. Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know if you've heard of him. But he had a new game this year, and it was called Sonic Superstars, and it's my number 4 because goddamn, I love this game.
Oh, I'm surprised that's high up on your list. I'm surprised.
Listen, okay, I'm not in the camp that says this game is shit because it's not. Okay, I know a lot of people weren't real high on this game when it came out, and I get it. It wasn't exactly the most polished. It definitely had its issues, but I'm a Sonic fan. I really enjoyed my time with Sonic Superstars. There were definitely a few issues. It was definitely a little jank at points. There were definitely some glitches that got in the way of things from time to time. And it definitely has a little bit of a difficulty spike towards the end. However, I think that Arzest did a pretty damn good job with this game. I think the game's zones are really creative. This is the first 2D Sonic we've had in God knows how long that had all original zones, and you can tell a lot of the levels are really cool. I really liked a lot of them, especially near to the back half of the game. It controls really well. It definitely doesn't feel off. It feels like the physics are on point. If anything, maybe it's because the game uses 3D models instead of 2D sprites. So we're used to the 2D games being true 2D. Maybe that's why a lot of people said it felt off to them. It didn't feel off to me. I think it feels right. Multiplayer is something I didn't expect in this game. But you know what? Launch night, I went out with my boy Spencer up here to pick it up at my local GameStop. And him, Matt, and I had a 3-player co-op session, and we got through half of the game in one sitting. And you know what? It's chaotic, and it's not really well implemented because it's clear that Sonic games don't do multiplayer very well. But it was a fun time. We all had a great time. We reveled in the chaos, and we enjoyed our time with it. The Chaos Emerald powers, I think, are a really cool idea. Not the best implemented because a lot of them are very situational, but I think it's cool that they're trying to expand the lore of the emeralds and give them a little bit more meaning just than the things you collect to go Super Saiyan. Special stages in that regard also were quite good. I really like the almost Spider-Man-esque tether mechanics where you swing through the level to get the Chaos Emerald. Very fun. Not as good as Sonic Mania's special stages, but I digress. And I might as well just say it, on the whole, it's not as good as Mania. But I don't think it was going to be. I think a lot of people had a little too high expectations for this game, and that led to a lot of its middling reception, among other things. But for what it was, I had a great time, especially like the back quarter of the game. Those last 3 or 4 zones, I think, are some of the most creative this series has had. A lot of the level gimmicks are really cool. And I don't think they got enough credit for how cool they were. And I don't think this game got enough credit for just how good it was, because as a classic Sonic game, I think it's up there. Like, it's a little rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, it was a fun time, and I enjoyed every second I played of it. So number 4 on my list, Sonic Superstars.
Nice.
Top 3, boys. We're in the home stretch. Josh,
here we go.
What's your number 3?
My number 3, it's a game that's already been talked about, I think, by everyone but Spencer. That you guys might be surprised, might not be surprised that it scored this high for me. It is Mario RPG.
Nice.
Super Mario RPG.
Respect.
What a game. So
Because I didn't play it. Yeah.
I am a very, very big RPG fan. I think a lot of people know that. It's probably my favorite genre. And Mario RPG is just...
It's just a good time, man.
It's just a good... That is
just a very good game.
Both Shane and Ryan have put it perfectly. It is what it needs to be. It is not too long. It's not too short. The gameplay is tight, fun, but not overly complex. The characters are all wacky, zany. I love them. They do little dances. They do little butt dances.
There's a pipe bomb in your mail.
There's a pipe bomb in your mailbox. And also, yeah, the story and the interactions are fucking hilarious. Mario getting ready to beat the shit out of a kid because he fucking made fun of him. This is like the most... I feel like this is almost one of the most unhinged Mario stories because they're just...
I will say it's the funniest.
It's one of the funniest.
It's very funny. It's
going into Peach's drawer, just taking her things and having the maid be like, "Don't go there. I will give you money if you forget what you saw." And then doing it again, and Peach is like, "What did I say? Do not go in there. Do not go in there."
Still one of the greatest jokes. It's just a weapon in this game that I absolutely love. It's one that I want. I wish I could keep on Bowser forever, but you can't upgrade your weapons. One of his weapons is literally just throws Mario at the end of.
Yep.
It's just such. It's such an incredibly fun, zany game, and you can see its roots in a lot of the further Mario RPG games. In Paper Mario and Super Paper Mario, or in Thousand Year Door, you can really see the roots of what this game led to. It's just such an incredibly fun experience. My only gripe is I think $80 is a little steep. I understand Nintendo pricing.
Right.
Yes, I understand Canadian pricing and everything like that. I think $80 is a little steep. Even 60. I would have been happy if it was 60 Canadian, 40 USD. Apart from that, though, incredible game. Incredible game. Genuinely one of the best RPGs I've played this year.
But y'all can now see why they didn't let Square touch another Mario game after this one. Because none of these enemies come back.
Nope.
Yep.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
We couldn't have Mario have a pipe bomb in his mailbox in a Nintendo game.
Real unfortunate.
Pipe bomb in your mailbox.
Real unfortunate that
hey,
we can't have like domestic terrorism in Mario games anymore.
Yeah,
hey, we'll be seeing more of Mario RPGs coming this year. Might be in a few months. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge of a certain other remake.
I can't wait.
I am the most hype
I'm
for that
fiending.
remake.
I'm fiending.
Dare I say I am feeding.
Dare I say, I'm gooning right now.
No, don't say that. You're not gooning.
I'm gooning. I'm gooning.
Oh god, he's gooning. Oh god.
All right, Spencer. Before I goon even harder, tell me what your number 3 is.
My number 3 is number 4. My number 3 from Capcom, directed by Yasuhiro Ampo and Kazunori Kadoi, is Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yep.
I told you.
I'm an RE fan.
I do.
I'm an RE fan. I have been since I was like 8, maybe. First PS1 game I ever played was Resident Evil 1, the director's cut, which ruined my life forever. Because that set in my mind for the longest time that I have to stop moving if I shoot my gun. So in games like Halo, I would stop moving to reload and stop moving to shoot because of RE1. RE4 is a masterpiece. Okay, 2005 for the GameCube, originally supposed to be only for the GameCube before it was brought to the PS2.
And eventually everything known to fucking man.
That's correct. RE4 is a masterpiece. There are very few games that have garnered as much critical acclaim as Resident Evil 4. So when they did the RE2 make and they did the RE3 make, people were like, okay, well, clearly Resident Evil 4 is going to be next. And then they announced it. And then we got like the demos and stuff where it's like, okay, so this is kind of like RE4, except you have a parry. Which any game that has a parry automatically bumps it up at least 2 or 3 spots on most lists, because just, hey, if Mario had a parry button, it would make Mario better. Okay? But the fact that you can parry everything in that game, you can parry a chainsaw, you can parry a crossbow bolt, you can parry a fucking stick of dynamite. That kind of leveled up, like, they basically took our RE4 and put it through a modern engine. The RE engine is incredible. It's so useful. And it feels so right to have it in the RE4 remake, because this game is Resident Evil 4, but it isn't the story of Resident Evil 4. So OG has a different feel to it than the remake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they do enough.
Different.
They do enough different with the story that characters and things that you didn't see in the original are given more time. You're given more time with Louise in the remake before he bites it. You're given more. You're given more of a backstory on Krauser before you fight Krauser. They got rid of some bosses. Exactly. They got rid of some bosses completely, and thank God, because that one boss that you fight in the shipping containers was the most bullshit boss in that game, and I'm glad they got rid of it. It was the big one where you had to kind of run around the shipping containers and like drop it off of the cliff.
It was
right.
It was leading into Laboratory.
Right.
It was right after a lot of stuff, and so you're already low on resources. You're already low on everything. You're just scraping by for survival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for some reason, for a second I thought you were talking about Salazar's right hand guy.
Oh no, that guy's still around. And
he's still a pain in the ass.
One of my favorite things, though, is that they kept it from the OG. You can beat not Krauser. You can beat
right hand
Salazar with an egg. A singular egg. If you throw a golden egg at Salazar in his like BOW form, it kills him instantly. It's incredible, and that was a bug in the OG that they brought forward.
We were just talking about Mario RPG. It's just like how they kept in the Geno Whirl insta kill on Exor.
Yep, it's a love letter. It's like a touch where it's like the real ones will know about this stuff, and just they made Ashley into a character that I genuinely enjoyed spending time with.
Yep.
Getting rid of her health bar helps a lot. In which she basically has like 2 states, which is alive and fine, and on the ground, please help me, I'm dying, and then dead. And they made her, and it was a complete change of like the way she looked. She's dressed a lot more like a person who, you know, is in the woods should dress. She does more like her solo part is more interesting than in the OG. I haven't played Separate Ways yet, but I'm going to. But just this whole thing was just a mountain, and at the very peak is everything that I wanted from an RE4 remake. Because it's really difficult. I'll be the first to admit I didn't think they could pull it off because the OG is so well regarded. But the things that they've done and the changes they've done have not just made this a remake, it is a full-blown new story. And for that, they get my utmost respect.
Hell yeah, brother, man. Hell yeah. Ryan, what is your number 3, my guy?
My number 3, gonna be swinging over to the superheroes here. It's Spider-Man 2 for PS5.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah. This one, I love Spider-Man 1, Game of the Year for 2018.
Same.
Love Miles
It was
Morales.
my Game of the Year in 2018 as well, yep.
And love this game. Had a couple of snags with the story, but other than that, really loved this game. Like it's visually fantastic. Love the adjustments that they made to the traversal. Love that wingsuit. Got so much fun use out of that wingsuit. Love switching between and playing as both Spider-Men at the same time. Really feels like they fleshed out some of the character dynamics with this one. It really just built upon the original and Miles Morales in some pretty fun ways. I'm hoping they do a little bit more with Spider-Man 3 because they are very clearly building up to one last third game in this saga. So I hope they evolve it a little bit more than what was done here. But what we have here, it's more of Spider-Man 2018, which is just a spectacular game, and you really just can't go wrong with that. It's just A+ top to bottom, platinum the whole thing. Very much worth it, and one of the few exclusives that the PS5 desperately needs right now.
Yep. Yeah, definitely one of the reasons to go out and actually buy a PS5.
Yeah, one of the few.
My number 3 is a game we've talked about a little bit before. It's a game from a company that's been around forever. It's made some of the greatest games of all time. Some of our favorites, even. And might I say, from start to finish, it was quite wonderful. My number 3 is Super Mario Wonder. The best platformer that I played in 2023, hands down. And I'm sorry to my main man Sonic, I've done you dirty. If it was any other year, but Mario takes the cake here. What a revitalization of this franchise after 10 years, 11 years, actually. Yeah, after 11 years away since Mario U, and that series being incredibly stale by that point, what a breath of fresh air Wonder ended up being. I remember reading a lot of the developer interviews saying that a lot of the younger staff at Nintendo worked on this game, and you can definitely feel the fresh blood in this game's veins. This is the most creative a Mario game has been since Odyssey. And 2D wise, since I agree with Josh, that original New Super Mario Bros. Game. This is definitely the shot in the arm 2D Mario needed, because this game is astounding from top to bottom. The sheer level of quality on display here is unrivaled in the platforming scene right now. The new aesthetic with this almost like it pastel meets claymation type art style where the characters have like this weird plastic sheen on them, but it's not like taken to the point where they just look gross. The aesthetic and the graphics and the new art style is immaculate. It looks incredible. Gameplay is as tight as it's ever been. The Wonder Flowers are a great new addition, and it really ups the creativity level that this game is definitely wearing on its sleeve. Because some of those Wonder Powers are zany. Like, you get to be a Goomba, and you get to play a top-down Mario, and the pipes become horrific body horror monstrosities. It's just creativity is the word that describes this game wholeheartedly. It's a new team, fresh blood, putting their take on Mario out into the world, and they were given the time they needed to make it the best it could possibly be. And what the final product ended up being is probably the best 2D Mario since Mario World. Like, no real contest there. Everything this game sets out to do, it does flawlessly, and I 100%ed it. A little bit of a difficulty spike near the end with those final badge challenges.
That last badge challenge
that
is
badge
a kick in
challenge
the
can go
nuts.
fuck itself. But
I played that a few times and then I went, nope, I'm maxing out on lives before I do this challenge.
But I did it, and I'm glad I did, because this game is a pure joy from start to finish, and easily the best platformer that came out last year. All right. Penultimate title. Josh, what's your runner-up?
What is 2 + 2?
4.
Resident Evil 4.
Resident
It's
Evil 4.
His game of the year is going to be Honkai, and I'm going to actually lose it.
So listen. We've said, Spencer has said, Ryan has said, everything there is that needs to be said.
Anyone gonna notice
about Resident Evil 4. This is just such an incredible remake. Everything about it, all the little details, all the little nods to the original game, everything about it is so fun, revamped, incredible to play. Just music, gameplay. I want to give the shout out. I don't think anyone has yet to the voice acting. The new voice actors do an incredible job taking over for a lot of the older roles. Like Leon's old voice is definitely hard to fill. Where'd everyone go?
Yeah.
Bingo. Your right hand comes off. No thanks.
Did his old voice actor retire? Was that it, or was he just not brought back?
I think.
So Matthew Mercier only voiced him in RE2. In RE4. Matt Mercer took over in RE6 and the CG movies, but Nick Apostianos, I believe is his last name, is Leon's voice since the RE2 remake. Okay. So they just kept that guy. Ella Freya is the voice for Ashley.
The only one I will say I have a little bit of a gripe with is Ada. I understand she's a new voice actress. 100%. She did a good job. It's just I don't think anything will beat the original voice actress for Ada. She does an incredible job. Apart from that, though, just you guys have already said everything I've wanted to say about Resi 4. Just such an incredible game. Play it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it now.
Yeah. At this point, it's one of those games where we don't really have to talk about it. Clearly, everyone but me, because I didn't play it, loves it to death.
Get out your wallet, go on Steam, buy it right now, play it. You'll be back in like 40 hours happy.
Spenny, I know what your number 2 is going to be, but tell the audience, what is your runner-up?
My runner-up is a game that would be number 1 in literally any other year that my number 1 game did not come out. And it is, of course, number 2, Is 2, another sequel from Remedy Entertainment, directed by Sam Lake and Kyle Rowley. It is Alan Wake 2.
Really?
Yes, the game is that good.
I was expecting it to be number 1.
Oh, you'll know when he says what number 1 is.
You'll know when I say what number 1 is.
You'll understand.
Because I'll be saying it before somebody else says it. So Alan Wake 2. So first and foremost, I'm a massive Remedy fan. Like the company alone, from helping Rockstar make the original Max Payne games to the original Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control. All of the games that they make are artistic and they're a journey to go through. And the journey of the development of Alan Wake 2 is almost worth a discussion in of itself. Because this game was in development for a very long time. And when they ran out of money and funding, then they made Control. And then they tied Alan Wake into Control. And then Alan Wake 2 finally got enough money and funding, and it came out October of last year. This is a survival horror game. If you like survival horror, you will love this game. We're talking extremely limited resources, a very, very small health pool. Even playing on normal, most enemies, if you choose to fight them, will kill you in 2 hits. 2 to 3 hits. 2 hits will definitely put you in danger. 3 will probably kill you. Healing supplies, limited. Like I said, ammo, limited. But it's also a true survival horror in the sense that there's a lot of puzzles in this game. There's a lot of things where you have to grab things and then bring it back to a certain area in order to gain access. There is enough content in this game that I think it was 32 hours for me to beat the first playthrough. And New Game Plus is one of those really interesting things where it's actually a completely different story. It's not just going through the same game again. At the end of New Game Plus, you get the true ending. Alan Wake has incredible voice acting. It has the song of the season, which is, of course, Herald of Darkness. It has some of the most unique gameplay levels, in which there's a level where you play through a music video about the life of the main character, kind of going through up the events of Alan Wake 1 and all that. There's one where you go through an abandoned coffee-themed amusement park. There's enough enemy variety and things where, like, your one character is an FBI agent, so you go into her place and you can profile people, and you're using like a corkboard to solve mysteries by putting evidence in certain areas. And with Alan, because he's a writer, he uses like plot points to change how different areas are viewed. And that opens up new areas. It opens up new things to actually move the character forward. This game has so much love. So Sam Lake, who was the face model for Max Payne and is the face model for a character called Alex Casey, went on record and basically said, they don't type the screenplays up, they write them all on paper. And the stack of paper must have been like fucking like this high for the screenplay of Alan Wake 2. It's just the perfect quintessential survival horror. While Resident Evil 4 Remake was more of the action survival horror, like Resident Evil was known for after that point, Alan Wake 2 did the opposite. Where Alan Wake 1 is more action-oriented, Alan Wake 2 genuinely terrifying. There is some points in that game that are like the dollhouse from RE8 Village, like that kind of surreal horror. And any other time, it would be number 1, but it is not. Sadly, it is number 2.
We'll get to why it's only number 2 in just a bit, because I know. Yeah. I'm aware. Ryan, what is your runner-up for Game of the Year?
There's 2 games the majority of people will have as their Game of the Year this year. They're my top 2, and my number 2 is Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is just a spectacular video game. The amount of time and effort that was put into that was unreal everything you can do in that game. The creativity, the freedom, the combat system, which was really fun to play with friends the few times I got to do it, play this game the little bit that I've been able to. And just, I have to give it its flowers just for the amount that was put into this game. Like, there is a reason why there was those articles of people worried that Baldur's Gate 3 was going to set too high expectations compared to other video games, because it is insanity the amount that was put into this. The absolute freedom of choice and everything you can do here it's unreal, and it is something that I don't know if we will see again for a very long time. Like, usually for me, these types of games don't interest me, but the amount of praise this game got and the amount of freedom got me interested. That's how I knew this game was just something special, with the amount that just it's incredible. Like, the top two games to me are just masterclasses of game design and what they were able to accomplish with this year. And I think it's pretty obvious what the other one is, what my number one will
I know
be.
exactly what it is now that you've said this is Baldur's Gate.
Mhm.
But it just goes to show there's a reason why it won Game of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 2. You know anything about me? Probably easy to guess. It's one that Ryan's mentioned already. A follow-up from a little game back in 2018 that I named my Game of the Year that year. My pick for number 2 is Spider-Man 2. The reason it's not my Game of the Year will be very obvious once I tell you what my actual Game of the Year is. But also, this game does play it quite safe. It is just more Spider-Man, and that's not a bad thing, because these games have been fantastic ever since the PS4 game came out in 2018. I do wish it mixed things up a little bit more, and that's ultimately why it didn't take the top spot for me. But man, this game is fantastic from start to finish. Improves pretty much every mechanic from 2018 and Miles Morales. The fact that it's a story about both Peter and Miles is incredibly cool to see, and being able to swap between the two on the fly whenever you want just makes the game that much more varied and dynamic. I do like, despite me having gripes with it, playing it a little safe, I do like the new stuff that they implemented in this game. Mainly the new Venom powers that they gave Miles, but more specifically, the big thing is the symbiote stuff with Peter. I think that's the best new addition that this game has to offer. A lot of the symbiote powers are really cool. And I know a lot of people have gripes with the story. And I do think it's a little thin when it comes to Miles. I feel like for the most part, Miles doesn't get a whole lot to do in the game until like the final act. But the stuff with him at that point is very cool. And I like how they didn't just slap him with a standard revenge plotline. They had him realize, oh, you know what? Part of being Spider-Man is about forgiveness, and I need to let go of my hatred and my desire for revenge if I want to take the mantle of this responsibility that has been bestowed on me. I think that's really cool. But yeah, this is primarily Peter's game again, which is unfortunate. But the Venom stuff is really cool, and I'm a big fan of Venom in the comics and in a lot of different media. So having Venom be basically the main antagonist, and the way they did Venom in this game, I think is really inspired. I'm not going to spoil who Venom is, but if you pay attention to any of the marketing or anything from like the ending of the previous game, it's pretty obvious. But for the few who want to stay unspoiled and haven't figured it out yet, I'm not going to say. But this game's take on Venom is very inspired, and I thought it was really cool to see his interactions and his dynamic with Peter, because there's a very personal level to the Venom plot line in this game. That's really cool. I like a lot of the stuff they did with the open world. The fact that they basically doubled the size of New York and added like the boroughs, Queens, Coney Island. That's really cool to see. It makes the same map feel that much more new and fresh, which is really great. The one thing I need to mention that I think, other than the symbiote powers, is the best new thing this game has to offer, is the way they changed side activities. More specifically, the way you find side activities. Because a lot of the previous games, it's looking on your map for little icons and going there to do side quests. In this game, they implement them in a way where they're more part of the world itself. You don't have to look at your map as often to find stuff. You can actually kind of see things in the distance. Like there are holographic waypoints throughout the city that lead you to different side activities. So it feels a lot more organic and natural the way you interact with the environment and the side content. I think that's the best thing, aside from the Simia stuff, that this game implemented. But all in all, fantastic sequel. I can't wait to see what Insomniac does with the Wolverine game, because these last few Marvel games they've done have been really fucking good. And if it wasn't for one other game, this 100% would have been my game of the year. But as it stands, incredibly, incredibly well-deserved runner-up. All right, boys. It's the biggie. No more fucking around. This is the serious shit. It's time to get serious. Josh, what is your game of the year for 2023?
Why is it Honkai Star Rail?
I'm going to kill you.
Listen.
Is it actually?
It's actually Honkai.
Yes, it is.
It is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I think this comes to no surprise of anyone.
I was hoping. I was hoping it would be Resi 4, but
no, but this comes to no surprise of everyone or of anyone. I played this game every single day since it came out. Every single day. I love it. It's an RPG. Who would have guessed? I love RPGs. The characters are all incredibly well written. The story is incredibly well written. The music is incredibly well written. The amount of love, care, and passion they've put into this game is incredible. Yes, it is a gacha game. Yes, you can spend a lot of money on it and lose a lot of that money. However, it is a very free-to-play friendly game. You do not have to spend money to have a good time, as Spencer is the penultimate example of that. What this game delivers and offers is one of the most exciting, well-written stories with some of the most interesting character members that you can find. The lore is deep. There's so many incredible characters. Just the music is incredible. The game trailers are incredible. Even Shane, who does not touch the game, can admit that the game trailers for characters are incredible.
Well, I mean, I know that Hoyo pumps the infinite amount of money they make on this game into its marketing, and you can tell.
This is the only game of last year that I have played every single day. And that speaks volumes to how well made and how fun this game is. I love it.
I'm not going to shit on your choice because I respect your opinions. And you know what? I've been meaning to get into this game too, so I can't say anything. Good choice. Good choice, Josh. I respect your opinions.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to have Ryan go next because I know what Spencer's game of the year is. Because it's my game.
I mean, you almost certainly know what my game is too.
Yeah, just talk about Zelda, dude.
Yeah, no shit. The guy with the Zelda PFP, Tears of the Kingdom, is my game of the year. Yeah, man. I mean, like Baldur's Gate 3, what is there to even say? The game is just a masterclass of game design. It is a phenomena that what was able to be accomplished here on the fucking Switch. You could go from the sky to the depths of the earth. No load times, no lagging big time, no stuttering and freezing, nothing. And it's just an immaculately designed game from top to bottom. Spectacular world design. Games like this and Elden Ring are the reason why shit like Ubisoft is so bland and boring and just utterly exposed at how weak ass some open world games are. Like Tears of the Kingdom, it expands on Breath of the Wild to such a great degree. I know that's why some people weren't as big of a fan of it, because it's easily the most direct sequel a 3D Zelda game has ever been, like even to a much greater degree than Majora's Mask was to Ocarina of Time. But I don't think that takes anything away from this game. It's just an amazing reconstruction and build upon of Breath of the Wild's like style and what you can do with it. The inventions and the shit people have made with the Ultra Hand and like the fuse abilities. People have made like Godzilla in this game.
I've seen people make Avas. I've seen people make Gundams. I've seen people. I've seen people when the game came out on Twitter find infinite ways to torture poor Koroks.
Yes, it's just an incredible game. I am in the agreement that I do hope we move on from the Breath of the Wild style and formula for the next game, but I think for what this game set out to do, especially to expand upon Breath of the Wild, it did it better. It made a lot of things improved. It really built to what I think we're going to get, that perfect Zelda game eventually, which I think is the open world structure of these two games with the dungeon complexity and design of the first 5 3D Zeldas. I think we reached one step closer to that with this game. And if we do eventually get that from this game, I think the series is going to hit like an all-time, like historic level peak, especially if it can pull off the technical wizardry and just masterful design that Tears of the Kingdom did. Like, and like, again, and that's in the same year as Baldur's Gate 3. Like those two, I think if there was ever like two games where in a year where I just felt, holy shit, these two just absolutely pushed the limit of video game design and just the intricacy of detail, it's those two.
I think you don't have to worry about there being another game in the style of this, because I think Aonuma said in an interview not long after it came out that they're moving on from this.
They are moving on,
Yeah. So whatever the next Zelda is in however many years will be something completely new again. But I wonder how much of what they learned from these past two games they're going to be implementing into that new one. Because these two games were such hits and they revolutionized the open world genre. Like, how much of that are you willing to abandon is my question.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Spenny?
definitely.
Spenny?
Yes, brother. So let's talk about something that Ryan brought up actually in the beginning of the show. Okay? Let's bring it back to the concept of the AAA game. Okay? The concept of games that have astronomical budgets. Right? AAA games can be good, but for the most part, AAA just means it comes from a developer that's put a lot of money into making the same game they make every time again. Okay? But now, let's turn our attention to what me and Shane and probably other people call the AA industry. They don't have the pure budget that a AAA developer has, but they are far from being indie. So, as I said, any other year, Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2 would be our games of the year. No doubt about it. However, what happens when a game comes out of literally nowhere, as in we did not know it existed until the day it was released, and it is so unique and so intriguing that it becomes something that I don't think will ever be topped? That, of course, directed by John Johannes from Tango Gameworks, is Hi-Fi Rush. Shane, you may take it away from
No, go for it. Go for it, buddy.
This game's a masterpiece. This game is something that will never be remade. It will never. Nobody has the pure imagination that John has. And this is a relative nobody. He kind of came up, he did the DLC for The Evil Within 1, and he did the story of Evil Within 2. He was kind of taken under the wing of Mikami, like a lot of people at Tango were, and Mikami let him do what he wanted to do. He basically gave this man carte blanche to make whatever he is. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm-based action RPG. It is Devil May Cry with a rhythm meter.
Yeah.
You have... So, everything in this game is to the beat of the music. Now, they don't do anything crazy like having 3/4 time signatures, 2/4, 3/2. It's all in a common time 4/4 time signature. But everything from the character's footsteps to the platforms that come in and out to the combat is all based around the common 4/4 time signature. Your light attacks, regardless of how much you spam, always hit on beat 1. Your heavy attacks, no matter how much you spam, always hit on beat 2. Your dodge is always on the beat. And the game knows that, so if you start acting on the beat, you get a multiplier. Your score goes up. You go C, D, B, A, S. And as you go up, the music morphs. You get more instruments being added as your score goes up. You get more of a kind of vocal, if there's vocals. The game comes alive. The sound actually gets louder. This game starts and ends on a Nine Inch Nails song. And between the start and the end, you are privy to the greatest Saturday morning cartoon storyline ever. And it would not be anywhere as good if it did not have an incredible director, writer, score, composer, and voice cast. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Robbie Damon.
Robbie fucking Damon, dude.
Robbie Damon as Chai, who's the main character, plays the biggest lovable dumbass. Chai is an idiot. He is a genuine idiot. And there's so much about his character that evolves as the game goes through, but it still is an idiot. There's a scene that is reminiscent of the Beyond the not Beyond. What's the first Spider-Verse movie called again?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, where there is a cafeteria fight, and instead of like running through a cafeteria and like somebody's bagel, you break through a window and there's a bunch of robots that look at you, and you just have to fight in this cafeteria to this soundtrack. That is incredible. Every track in this game fits the motif of the level or the boss. Even they were even nice enough to have a streamer mode, which takes out all of the copyrighted music and adds in original, fully made for the game, original music to these tracks that fits the same
Which
beat.
fucking slap, by the way.
Yeah, they're all incredible. So you can play it with copyright or uncopyright. They make fun of themselves. There's a robot that you find consistently through the game that is just Sebastian from Evil Within, and he's like a gruff like detective robot, and he just says the most dumbest things because they know how dumb Evil Within is. There's a boss that is just a JoJo villain that you defeat by causing him to go bankrupt. Like, this game is so full of love and passion and like genuine appreciation for the art form that I don't think we'll get another game like this in a long ass time. So go ahead, Shane. I've said enough.
I think the way I can describe this game was best done by one Wooly Versus that he said on the Versus Wolves podcast. Hi-Fi Rush is basically a game that has existed in my brain for the longest time that no one knew about, and it's like Tango Gameworks infiltrated my psyche and extracted it from my brain and made it into reality. Like, this is 100% a me game. It is a character action game. It is a rhythm game. It has a cartoony ass art style. It's got banging music. It's dumb as hell. And it's the best goddamn game I played in 2023. The reason Spider-Man 2 was not my game of the year was because while it's an incredible sequel and it improved upon every aspect of the first two games, they played it too safe. It's more Spider-Man. Not a bad thing, but it doesn't make it stand out as much. This game, I don't think I've ever played anything quite like Hi-Fi Rush. And as the year went on, I started to realize, oh, nothing that comes out this year is going to be like Hi-Fi Rush. This game came out in fucking January. It was dropped on a whim at a developer direct. No one knew of its existence before that showcase. Shadow dropped on Game Pass. Go play it. And I am floored that
is the utmost, like you have faith in your game if you're just being like, play it.
I am floored that not only they released it the way they did and it worked, but I am floored that the rest of the year, those other 11 months, not one single game came close to touching this as my game of the year. I put it at the top of the list the second I played it, and it did not move for the rest of the year. It's 100% a game made for me, and everything it does, from its rhythm combat to its goofy nature to its cel-shaded visuals to its jammin' soundtrack to its lovable characters, it's a perfect video game. I'm sorry, I don't have any issues with this game at all. So I can't in good conscience name anything other as my game of the year. And that is Hi-Fi Rush. It is a game made for me that suits every single one of my tastes. And it was by far above and beyond the best game I played in 2023. No contest. Did you know they added a Bloody Palace mode, Spencer?
I did.
Did you play the Bloody Palace mode?
I have played the Bloody Palace mode.
It's a good Bloody Palace.
It's a good Bloody Palace. It's like there is so much. Even if you're a person who might not be the most rhythmically challenged, the game gives you enough things to keep time. Mm-hmm. If you can't keep time in your head by tapping your foot, completely fine. The character's footsteps are on a 4/4 beat, so you can listen for that. If that doesn't work for you, the entire world around you moves on a 4/4 beat. If that doesn't work for you, you can activate a metronome on the bottom of the screen for a visual indication of the beat. So much of this, and it just proves that Tango is the best AA developer that we have. Because they came up with this, and around the same time, they had Ghostwire Tokyo. And Ghostwire Tokyo is another masterclass. And it makes me excited for the sequel, but also for Kamuri when that comes out, because that's going to be a banger. But, for this man really came out of nowhere. John Johannes came out of nowhere. He made the good part that people say of Evil Within 1 and Evil Within 2, which is a ton of fun. But nobody was expecting this. Nobody was expecting, as Shane put it, a wacky, cel-shaded, rhythm-based, zany action RPG as their next game. And I said it's a masterpiece to Shane. And we were talking about where we were in the game and the things that were coming out, which is very rare for us, aside from like games like Yakuza.
Yeah.
We don't really talk about the games that we're playing, just, you're playing this game. But it's like, hey, have you gotten to this part? And he's like, oh, the part where the head of sales is actually a robot that turns into a werewolf, and you have to fight him in a giant
in a giant
duck
like
safe.
DuckTales money vault.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, and was that not the best fight? And he's like, yeah, but wait, it gets better. And then all of a sudden, there's a massive set piece with a giant robot, all to like copyrighted music, and it's just I thought, I'm like, okay, game's great, 10 out of 10, 5 stars, but surely it won't be game of the year. And then as the year went on and I'm playing more and more games,
didn't budge.
And I'm like, okay, crazy how this game is still looking. And the opposite of what Ryan said about Final Fantasy 16, where the more he looks on it, it gets worse. It was the exact opposite. The more that I thought about Hi-Fi Rush, I'm like, no, this is like the best game I've played in the past decade. Like,
it's up there. It's definitely up there. And I will
me more games that have this level of passion. That's just let developers develop.
Yeah. And I will say, I think the moment where I was like, okay, this game ain't budging is the cafeteria scene where Chai and 808 bust into a cafeteria full of robots. And then Invaders Must Die by The Prodigy starts playing, and you're beating up robots in the middle of a corporate cafeteria hall. It's just the best fucking thing.
Mine was like a couple of months ago, like in like September, where somebody on Twitter is just like, did you know that if you don't catch
if you don't catch Corsica, you just bang her. She just falls, and you're just like
falls on the ground. So like after you beat a boss, she like falls off of something, and you have to catch her with a quick time event. Well, I did it. I caught Corsica. It's super cool. It's super cool. But if you messed up the quick time event, you still do the full like slide action pose, but behind you, she just drops from the ground and fucking hits with a thud. And then you like pick her up, and you're like, okay, time to go. And he just keeps on banging her head off of the door frame. And then she like wakes up and she's like, God, I have a headache. And Chai's just like, I don't know what happened. Like,
I don't know what, it wasn't me.
But it's so everybody should play this game. Yes. And if you've started it, finish it. And if you have not started it, play it.
Get Game Pass just to play this game. Just saying.
That's it. Yeah. No other games matter.
Yep. With that said though, we got through all the lists. So we're ready to wrap things up. Final thoughts on 2023 for video games.
Insane year.
Fucking it's wild.
Absolutely cracked.
I will say
this is the most games I've played in a year.
Yeah. So I'm an insane person, like I said, and I rank the games I play throughout the years just so I don't forget about them. Looking back at my list, making sure everything was good for this podcast, I realized I played 38 games in 2023. And Spencer played the same amount.
I also played 38 games.
I think this is going down alongside 1997, 2007, and 2017 as one of the best years in gaming history.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a shame that it was sullied by all of the layoffs.
Yeah. I think we're going to have more of a quiet year this year, though, for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think this year's going to be as crazy, even though we're already feasting. Like we've had Prince of Persia, we've had Infinite Wealth, Tekken 8,
Persona
3 Reload comes out next
Final
week.
Fantasy,
Final Rebirth at the end of February,
Grand Blue
Fantasy. Yep, we're already looking at a pretty cracked year.
Princess Peach Showtime, Rise of Ronin.
Yep.
Stellar Blade is supposedly this year.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Thousand Year Door remake.
Did you say
is Sparking Zero set for this year, or is that
still
like
no
tentative?
Date. Still no date.
Okay.
164 characters though.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We just found out about that.
We do know, as Brumert put it though, Zenless Zone Zero is coming out this year.
Yes.
And what nothing will beat 2023 for a while, and hopefully developers are allowed to have to take this time to focus on making these games as good as they can.
Yeah. But with that said, I think we're about ready to wrap things up here, boys. So thank you very much for watching another exciting episode of Bearded Banter. This is the first Game of the Year special we've done in a while, so I hope you appreciated our list. Let us know what your favorite games of 2023 were down in the comments below, or not. I don't really care, but it's cool if you do. Thanks for watching. I am your host, Shane, the Bearded One. You can find me on Twitter at BeardedGamingN, where I post a whole bunch of different things about movies, games, anime, manga. I've got a media thread going. That's my pinned tweet, where I literally am posting about every piece of media I experienced throughout the year. I've already got almost 50 things on there. So go check that out if you want my dumb opinions on various media. Also subscribe to us here on YouTube, youtube.com/The Bearded Gaming Network, or at Bearded1BGN on YouTube for more great podcasts like this and other great videos along the way. And follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Bearded Gaming Network, where I haven't streamed in a while for personal reasons, burnout mostly, but I might be coming back soon, so tune in for that. I'll let you know when I'll be back to that. With me, as always, is my co-host Ryan, the NCS Master. You can follow him on Twitter at the NCS Master, where he shit posts about a whole bunch of different things and likes making silly, dumb memes. You can also subscribe to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/the NCS Master, where the illustrious 100K view video has been posted about a lot of the issues plaguing this generation of games. Go check it out because it's popping off right now.
Don't know if that'll continue, but I'd love if it would. And next time I upload a video.
Honestly, once the algorithm picks something up, it keeps going for a few days at least.
Yeah. Well, I meant with my next few videos. I meant
hopefully you can carry that momentum. Yeah, but
yeah.
Congratulations on the new video. I'm very happy for your success. And
Thank you, brother.
like I just said, I hope you can carry that forward. With us, we also have two very special guests. First off is my boy Josh, my son. You can follow him on Twitter at RebornWeeb, where he lurks under our friend Soul's posts and is usually very horny.
Yes, he is.
Good soup. Good soup. Good soup. Also with us, we have Spencer. You can find him on Twitter at Beery Burden. Two E's. Where are you you're not the fan page of Cincinnati Bengals anymore. You've moved on to the Lions now, right?
I'm the fan page of nobody after tonight. You know what? I'm just gonna go crawl in a hole. If you don't see me liking any pictures of cosplayers, it's because I'm dead.
He's dead.
You know, it's been fun, guys. Sports continues to kill me. At least I'm not the Cleveland Browns.
Can't wait for the most boring Super Bowl matchup that could have happened this year. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
It's gonna fucking go to fucking time out sports rant for a second. It's 100% gonna go to the Chiefs because
so Taylor Swift can hold the fucking Super Bowl
trophy. Exactly. That's what I'm fucking saying. Like it's 100% because fucking Travis Kelce's gonna bring his fucking rich ass girlfriend on stage. She's gonna hold the Super Bowl trophy. The Swifties are gonna lose their goddamn mind, and the NFL is gonna make it so that Mahomes and the Chiefs win the next 12 Super Bowls. It is this Super Bowl is going to suck.
Because we just escaped Tom Brady and the Patriots. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Oh yeah, well, you know, fucking might as well. We can beat the Buccaneers, but the new golden child's here.
Shane and Josh have no idea what we're going on about.
Very glad I'm not a sportsman.
It's frustrating being a
I was literally checking the game score in the middle of while we were doing this. I'm like, God fucking damn it, Lions.
Every time I'm like, are they cool that they're up? And then I'm like, oh, never mind, they're not up. And then I go on Twitter, I'm like, fucking guy drops a 4th and 2, like, and then drops a 4th and 3, and I'm like, in the same quarter. Get rid of him. Man's fucking trash.
So what you're saying is we need new football men.
Yes. Either that or we need Taylor Swift out of the NFL.
Listen,
Taylor Swift is going to become the NFL.
We'll get an NFL team in Canada at one point, and then you guys will care.
Nothing can make me care, brother. I'm being perfectly honest with you here.
We have the CFL. It exists, goddammit.
I know.
Yeah, do you talk about it though?
Nobody talks about the CFL,
Listen,
but it exists.
Listen. We got Canada teams in the NBA, MLB, and NHL. We just got to make it a full quartet.
Exactly. And what? We're not gonna get into the fucking XFL, so might as well get in somewhere.
Fuck that guy, right? Am I right? Am I right? Haters.
It's okay,
anyway.
It's okay, Shane.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. We'll see you guys next time for more chaotic gaming adventures here on Beer Banter. Real quick before we go, I just want to mention we're back to regular schedule, except we're going to be a monthly podcast now. I'm taking what I learned from the gap because I don't want to burn myself out again. So we're going to be once every 4 weeks. So we will see you guys at the end of February for another exciting episode. With that said, we can wrap things up. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm Shane the Bearded One, signing off with all my friendos, and we'll see you guys next time. Keep on gaming, everyone. Fuck the Lions.